always, Asa, always.
Been a while.
Always. It has been a while. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Go Live. Go Live. The show where we bring you all kinds of joy, even when we discuss negative news. But it's not going to be all negative. Don't worry. I saw the comments. Oh, this is going to be a massive therapy session. Maybe a little bit, but not that much. We're going to have a mad time. We're going to have a mad time because we have you lovely people. We have Randall Thor19, the piece of who's still streaming today, overlapping with us. So I'm sure there are quite a few people there. If you're watching after the fact, I question your loyalty. But thank you, everyone for joining in. Shout out to Rand. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to this incredible panel, which I'm going to get into introducing, both of whom are making their debut on Go Live. But before that, Asa, come on, let's go into it. Tell us what's happening with your face.
What's happening with my face? You can talk. So you spent, mine might be a bit funny, but you spent about 20 minutes before the show started adjusting your camera and your lighting. And then as we went live, you turned all of the lights off and made it look like someone shining an ultraviolet light on your face and finding all kinds of mess.
I don't know what's going on.
Not
I'm
ideal.
trying to fix it.
Good. But in terms of the gaming news and the week that's gone by, it's been really nice. It's been refreshing. We've had a whole week of Xbox fans complaining about frame rates, which is such a nice break from talking about Activision Blizzard King. I'm just I'm loving it. I'm yes, talk about this. Complain, whine, bitch, cry, hate, argue with each other. Finally some relief from the usual topics. I'm properly excited. We've got two new, they're very new to me. I don't know either of our two guests, and I'm looking forward to getting into it and talking all the gaming stuff.
Yeah, man. Oh, look at Asa. He's such a piece of he's so excited from your suffering of Xbox fans. You see what I have to deal with? But it's fine. Bring it. It's going to be an epic show. You may not know these two, but I do. I've had the absolute pleasure of joining their show, the LV1 Level 1 gang up in here. Yeah, no, it's not working.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be.
It's one of those shows.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's not working. Asa has sabotaged my shit. No, honestly, I'm a bit distraught. I can't play tunes right now. That's disgusting. But on that note, in no particular order, it is the face. No, the floor hugger. We will call you Hugger. Shout out to you. How you doing?
Did it.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you guys for having me. As you guys may not know or know, I'm the floor hugger. I've been doing this YouTube thing for a very long time. And, we started Level 1 and I'm the creative director. I make things look pretty. And I'm just here to make sure Fame says things right and doesn't mispronounce things and make quiet jokes when nobody's listening.
Shout out. No, what? Is it fixed? Oh. No, it's not fixed. Something's wrong with my microphone. I was going to do a little sound effect, but no, you don't give yourself enough credit. And not only are you going to be damage controlling Fame, but you will also be giving us some great nuggets of knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, or lack thereof, though, I don't know why I'm insulting you, Fame. It is Fame, man. What you doing, bro? How you doing?
Listen, I think I'm good. Look, it's my first time meeting you, Asa. Shout out to you, Asa. You're a good guy, but Gas, we got beef. I'd be lying if I said have been sitting in a corner for weeks wondering if I would ever get an invite to this podcast, right? So now that I got the invite, we are good now, my brother. So I appreciate it. I will do my best to do two things. One, hide my hairline so I don't get made fun of because I am losing my hair expeditiously. And two, try not to piss off any more of our Xbox friends because, man, there's some stuff I got to talk about as an Xbox connoisseur myself. I am not happy, my boy, but I appreciate the invite. Yes, LV1gaming.com as you guys check us out. And I appreciate the invite. And Ace, it's nice to meet you, my boy.
You too.
Yeah, mate. This light is crazy. This is all going wrong. Soundboard's not working. I feel naked without my soundboard. It doesn't make any sense. But what a show for you guys to join. This is a mad week. It's been a mad week. So whatever you got off your chest, just get it off your chest but there's going to be quite a lot to talk about. But before we get into the obvious one, there are some pretty diverse set of topics. So we'll go straight into it. the first bit of news that broke earlier this week, or the bit that we will discuss, PlayStation's Dream is dead. By that, I mean the PlayStation exclusive made by Media Molecule. It was met well critically. It was an impressive tool, except it was only on PlayStation. And for years, people have been producing. If you don't know what Dreams is, it's like, remember Project Spark for Xbox? They made fun. Wow. Remember that? And this was a better version of that. A far better version.
It was.
It really was. Project Spark had a lot of potential, but it died. And I remember the PlayStation guys were lambasting it. So look at Dreams, and now Dreams is dead. Let's talk about it. Like, did any of us actually try Dreams? Haga, did you ever play Dreams or play Dreams? Saying you played Dreams sounds weird because you make your games in that and play them, but.
I never tried it out. I was always interested because for me, it wasn't a game. It was a platform. It was like Unreal Engine to just explore stuff. And I'll be one of them to admit, I never really hopped on it, but I did see some like really cool fan remakes. I think somebody was working on a Tomb Raider remake. Somebody was working on Sonic in there. Like, there was some cool stuff going on. And it's kind of sad to see that it's not going to carry forward. But I'm hoping that those people that had their dreams there now have some of the technical skills and can go make those in like Game Maker, Unreal 5 or something, and can go explore.
That's a great point. That I didn't think of it that way. That these tools will make it hopefully more palatable for wannabe budding game developers, because if they can do that, then they'll understand the design philosophy in game dev, and then hopefully move on to it. Yeah, no, that is a good point. Like behind all the console warring point regarding this, it is kind of sad. And I follow me and Abby Hep, who follow each other. She's lovely. I think she was the community manager there. And she left the studio, and then just a week after she left, it was announced that Dreams was going ahead, and she said she was gutted because so much work went into it. But I mean, there were some mistakes there, though. But Fame, are you going to miss Dreams? Did you even try it?
Hell no. I was all the way okay. I didn't care for it or Project Spark, but I could tell you one thing for sure. Something like that, it looked incredibly. It looked dope. The stuff that was being made, but something like that should have been on PC.
Exactly.
Like, if you look at what they're doing, what people are doing in, let's say, Fortnite Creative 2.0, right? They're doing some amazing stuff over there. Like, could you imagine if the PC gamers had Dreams or had that technology or to be able to do that over, they would have made some stuff and it would have increased the longevity. I don't think Microsoft, when they did Project Spark or Sony or PlayStation, they think, oh yeah, the console gamers are going to sit here and make games all day. No, we just want to freaking play games. And I think the novelty of Project Spark, the novelty of Dreams wore off pretty fast. When it first dropped, you remember we were seeing incredible stuff daily. And I get people say, oh, that's your Twitter and your world of small, and I get that. However, we all are pretty much in this same circle, right? And we know when something stops getting talked about, it's dead. Like, look at Multiverses. I said Multiverses was dead. No one was talking about it. I was told I was crazy, and now it's coming out that they're pretty much going to close the game for a little bit. They're closing it forever, right? So Dreams, it would have been better off had it also been on PC. That thing was it was bound not to have lasting power, just because people don't want to. A lot of people don't want to work. They don't want to put in work for a game to play a game. They just want to play games, right? So something like that, I think, would have lasted longer had it been across the board on multiple platforms.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It makes no sense, particularly when PlayStation has now positioned itself to be more open and support PC. It was a glaring omission on Media Molecule's part, unless there was some technical reason they couldn't do it. But Acer, I mean, that kind of tool is really designed for PC. What's it doing on a console anyway?
I think I was really impressed or like I admired what they did with Dreams. I never got into it myself. The big problem with Dreams though, for me, was that the creative audience, the people that were getting in there to realize their dreams and make things, was bigger than the audience of people that are going to consume those things. There weren't enough people to play them. So it's a shame that they shut it down. I would have much rather seen them bring it to PC, change it to a free-to-play model, because they're up against Roblox and Fortnite and Minecraft, which have huge audiences of people to consume the things that you make, as well as really good tools to make them. But Dreams did stand in its own little place. The fact that it was a console experience, you could log on a console and make something, like, there's potential there. There was potential in Project Spark, and in both cases, I thought it was a shame that they shut them off when they did. They got the model wrong.
What would you have done though? Was there any... So what they didn't have for it is they had good tools to make things. They didn't have people to play the things that you make. So free to play is the first obvious step that I'm surprised they didn't take before shutting it down. Like, you're charging people to go in and make things. That's backwards. So set up an ecosystem on there so that the people that are making them can monetize in the way that they can on Fortnite and they can on Roblox. And then let the audience come into this free game to try loads of things. Put it out there for the kids. We know that kids are like... Roblox is worth 40 billion, 50 billion. Crazy.
Stupid amount of money. And it's free nonsense that lets creators build things. So Dreams could have been that, but it's not.
It's weird. Oh my God, your Skyrim photo is pissing me off.
So I had it last week. It was almost perfect. And Sam Stern said on Twitter that it was driving him insane that my portrait was wonky. So I said, I'm going to make it more wonky. Fuck you. In a nice way, Sam. I mean that politely. It's just a bit of fun.
So it's weird. Yeah, and then feels like they let it die before they even really explored all the options to make it a success. And you're a good point on the free-to-play point. Like, normally you'd at least see them try and do that, and then they just let it die, like Lawbreakers, which is actually a good tangent to that. I wasn't actually in the list of topics, but did you guys see that? Like, Cliff Bleszinski said that he's heard from his lawyers about Lawbreakers. Watch this space, and Lawbreakers was a really good. I hardly played it, if at all. I'm trying to remember. That's the problem.
I love Lawbreakers.
Did you play it and did you like it? Yeah. So
I played
my kind of game. Lawbreakers. That is my game. Arena shooter, focus on mobility. It's crazy I haven't played. If it comes out today, I'm definitely playing it. Feels like it was ahead of its time. But the problem was it launched at the same time as Overwatch, which completely eclipsed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it might be coming back. Do you think there's an audience for that, Hugger?
Oh, 100%. It was, because it wasn't... Overwatch is a pick up and play game for anybody. Lawbreakers was skill. It was hard. Like, you didn't find your character that was right for you. You weren't going to have fun with it. And like some people, it was like Bleeding Edge for them, or Splitgate, where they just did not find fun in it. But Lawbreakers, it had potential to do really good. And I think it should come back. I don't know if it keeps the same game. I think it should come back. It's like, I'm excited Paragon is back.
Okay. Is Paragon
going to be
back?
the same game? It's coming back. I don't know if it's fully back yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But you say it needs to come back in the same form it was before, with no changes?
I think it was pretty good in the form it was. I don't think we got to see the full potential of what it could have been. It was cut off way too early to see what the changes could have been, what balancing issues they could have fixed. I think come back in the game you gave us and then build off of that. Don't give us something that we don't give us like to fit in with Call of Duty or Apex. You stood alone, that you were hard and you were skill based. Don't give us something that, not to exclude people, because you never want to do that. You're going to kill your audience off, but give us what made Lawbreakers. Skill,
I fully agree with
characters, environments, great movement that it was kind of like Quake, where it was really like fluid and well done. And now you don't have to compete with Overwatch either.
That's a great point. That's solid. Cliff Bleszinski, if you're listening, don't change anything. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Actually, I've been working on a video for a while on this. It's on the topic of bringing back arena shooters. Just an excuse for me to load up Quake again, capture footage, and then die constantly because people are still playing it for years. But you hit the nail on the head there. I think now, and I see all the time, like even when people play COD, they're playing it like they want it so desperately for it to be Quake. The movement focus, like sliding, tackling, jump, is like weird movement, like their mouse is moving all over the place. I'm like, you basically want Quake. It looks like you want Quake. And I think you hit the nail on the head there when don't change it, because there definitely is a market for skill-based arena games. I think there definitely is one now. Definitely is one now, and I'll talk about that in my video. But come on, Fame, you played this game. What was? Look, we can say Overwatch is the reason why it catalyzed its demise, but I'm sure there were some missteps in there. Do you remember any of the problems that you thought, well, maybe they need to change this, or this wasn't that good?
There's a couple of problems that it had. Number one, I mean, I know we don't want to blame Overwatch, but it has to be a point of contention because it was the another hero shooter but it wasn't multi-platform. It was only on one console, so that kind of hurt its global notoriety being locked in just to one platform. That's number one. Number two, because people play stuff like Overwatch, when you come over to Lawbreakers and you don't have the necessary skill to play it, this game sucked, I don't want to play it, I'm gonna walk away. And then someone made this point to me that I thought was fantastic, and it took me a minute to really accept that this may be a real case. Lawbreakers didn't have anyone that Redditors wanted to have sex with, so they didn't really love the game like that. Are you serious? Like, you think about a lot of these games, they sexualize a character, and that stuff gets all over Reddit and all over the place, and then people want to go play their game because they want to sexualize that character. And Lawbreakers didn't have that one, oh my God, this is the sexy fox character that I want to go mate with. Like, it didn't have that, right? I thought that was part of the problem.
Fair enough.
Frozen
did have any endearing characters. Fame, you're frozen for some reason. Like Madonna sings that song.
He's so right, though. I mean, all I've heard about recently, especially with Apex, is Loba's beach skin is not sexy enough, and I'm like, y'all need to chill. Leave Loba alone. She is fine as she is. Play the game. Don't worry about the skin.
What are they saying about Loba? She's not showing enough skin?
Yeah.
Gamers are weird.
It's a full bikini. We are weird. I will admit that. We are weird.
Yeah. Have you seen this stuff on Resident Evil and Ashley as a character? Oh my God. Well, I haven't even stepped into that world because it's just nude mods. I want to, but I haven't done it yet. As I can see, Fame is struggling with trying to get his camera to work.
You didn't get to play Lawbreakers yourself, did you guys?
I didn't. I never did because Overwatch actually took over. But I wanted to play it. But
I was incredible at Lawbreakers. Like, I was the best player in the world. Like, no, I was untouchable. Absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately, they've deleted all of the stats and stuff, so there's no way to like prove this. But yeah, no, I was really, really good at it.
Sure.
I did have it on PC actually. No, I did. I had it on PC. I really enjoyed it. They did like the movement felt really good, but they did some really nice like refinements on typical game modes that you're used to, like the way that the domination game type was laid out. I think it's probably been replicated by some others since, but at the time it was like, oh, that's a really smart little refinement. This game is really good. So obviously a lot of people, particularly on the Xbox side, only on the Xbox side, felt kind of betrayed that it wasn't on Xbox because it was Cliff Bleszinski. If it hadn't been the father of Gears of War, then it might have been received differently in the PC on the console side of things. There are a lot of people upset. It was also working very much against it, being a PlayStation 4 game. Can you imagine playing a game like that on a DualShock 4?
Oh, Asa said it. Asa said it. Asa said it. Yes, how the Tony works wicked. But it's true. Like, I don't want to. That's one of the big reasons why I never got to play it. It's because I was an Xbox guy / PC. I could have played on PC, but the fact that so I don't think Cliff Bleszinski handled that whole situation well, because Cliff Bleszinski at the time, even when he released Gears as a developer, he was this loud, brash kind of guy with the Lancer picture, really pissed people off. I was like, screw you guys, I'm this guy, I'm the Unreal guy, I'm what's that? Jazz the Jackrabbit? What was that? Yeah, just right. Yeah, it's that guy. Like, I'm this guy. I'm the MVP coming on off a high. And when he made this deal, and these kind of exclusivity deals can't always help. Yeah. So you see, that's a big example, in my opinion, of why Lawbreaker failed. Not only was it seen as a betrayal, fame is back, shout out to you, but also I could see you struggling with that. But also the fact that he doubled down on it. So if you watch some clips of him, he's like, F the Xbox guys, F this and that. And it's like,
yeah.
And if you remember, the game was actually going to be free to play, and there was a lot of backlash on that. They said, because this was at the time when the whole loot box fiasco was really, like, the gambling commission was looking into it. Everyone was really like, what's going on here? This is really shit. And everyone's like, you're going to give us one of these games without all the bits. And then he did a U-turn, and it was a fully fledged title. They were like a full price game, if I remember correctly. So there was this inconsistent messaging. You spat in the faces of Xbox guys quite loudly and brashly, and in a market where you had Overwatch come out of nowhere, and like you said, Fame, it didn't release on all platforms. You set yourself up for failure. And I think that humbled Cliff Bleszinski. I haven't read his book, but I think he will, going back, would have changed a few things. And if he still doesn't admit,
he has said as much. Yeah, he said that he regretted some things around that.
Okay, I did read he had years of depression because of the. So
he went on from Lawbreakers. When Lawbreakers shut down, his studio, Bosky Studios, went on to try and make a battle royale game that was going to be a free to play one. I can't remember the name of it.
And it was terrible.
Radical Heights.
Oh yeah,
Radical Heights. That's the one. The studio got shut down midway through that. He had a lot of trouble like keeping his staff paid and all the things that a business owner worries about. So he went through a hard time afterwards. He seems to be doing just fine now, though. But
yeah, hopefully his book is selling well, and he seems, I don't know what he's doing. He's living on royalties or something. I mean, how can you work for no job for a while? He must be killing it. Well, maybe the book is selling a lot. I don't know. But really,
he runs Broadway shows and has a nightclub and all sorts of things. Like, he's fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen him on a few shows. He came on a few as well. I just don't want to do the whole... like Cliff Bleszinski, like begging on Twitter kind of thing. I did it once, like, hey, do you want to come on our show? And it's not like I'm going to up our own asses, but it feels like really beggy. Hey, Cliff, would you like to come? Which is just it's a me thing. But I do want to invite him on. I think we'd have a really good discussion on that. And hopefully my video and this discussion here, which I'll clip bits off and say, hey, Cliff, look, we're talking about it. If you want to come on, that's fine. It'd be nice to know your thoughts on this point, because I think all of you have raised some pretty good points there. So Cliff Bleszinski got humbled, but he might be coming back stronger perhaps. If Lawbreaker does come back, that'd be impressive, and I will back it hard because I want arena shooters to come back. So let's see that space. Just quickly touch on no, or just Xbox exclusive is fine. No, but yeah,
I would assume like really guesswork stuff. But if lawyers have contacted him about this particular game that shut down 5 years ago or whatever, it's presumably that a studio that has no affiliation with him wants to bring that game back and is asking if they can like get the license if Cliff wants to be involved. He might not want to be. Lawbreakers might come back with no involvement from him, or it might not come back at all.
But it's like Paragon. When Paragon's coming back, it's under a different studios making it. It's not, so it could be the same deal.
Yeah, it could be. I think there's opportunity there for a partner, any third-party partner looking to maybe capture a niche market, or not even niche. I think they're like in a market that's quite emergent. We've seen, well, this wasn't on the topic list as well, but I'm just going to add it. XDefiant is making some waves now, and I saw it, and for ages I'm like, why am I keep seeing these Call of Duty clips? Or what gun is that? That's what I thought. It looked like COD so much. I'm like, there's a new skin. What's it? Because I've weaned myself off multiplayer because I was predominantly 99% multiplayer. But now doing this, we've gone single player. I ain't telling you this, but I saw that and I was like, XDefiant looks really like. Wait, this is not COD, but it looks like COD.
It looks so good.
It does look good though. They've got the gunplay. Looks like without playing it. I applied for the whatever beta thing today. And Asa, you got the invite, didn't you? You shit. Have you
got the invite? I'm not going to touch it. No, thank you. Like I'm gonna.
Well, what do you mean? Give it to me.
I'm not sure if I can. So I got the invite not for being like the wonderful content creator and influencer that I am. I got it because I pay Ubisoft too much money every month. So they're like, you've been selected to play Defiant, and I'm like, do I have to? I've been summoned. Is there any way? Do I need like a lawyer for this? Because I'm not playing that. There's nothing you can do to make me.
Why? What?
The trippy thing though.
But I don't I don't like Call of
game.
Duty. Yeah, it's a Ubisoft game. I don't like Call of Duty. So a game that's trying to be Call of Duty is just, it's not for me.
It's true, but I'm quite intrigued to see it because it's like you said, Face is Hugger Face. Oh God! Fucking, I told you, your name's gonna cause me so much grief.
I'm letting it roll. I'm loving it.
Hugging faces out here.
Yeah, I mean, this looks really good. Ubisoft, but it's an Ubisoft game. Like that's a weird one. I can't shake that.
But Siege, they make Siege.
Yeah, Siege as well. Like there are vibes of it, but it looks like COD, and it's coming from Ubisoft. Like this is like almost a straight copy of COD. The reason why this looks good is because there's a big focus on gunplay. You can see from the way the ADS works. Like these are the things. The bit of crack for a COD fan like me is like, oh, the snapping ADS. Oh, look, what's the quick scope like? It's just like everything from the crosshairs. It just looks fun. And I'm scared.
We were told that no one else could make a game like COD. We were told that COD is God in video game form, and it would bankrupt any company to make a game that even comes close to it.
Are you saying that you think XDefiant is going to be remotely close to as successful as Call of Duty?
No,
it being free to play, it's going to come with its own issue. They're going to try to monetize the F out of this game because it's free to play, right? So if you're looking at a COD competitor more closer to Warzone, not the mainline COD games, but the fact that we see this game and you got people who are playing this game and saying, hey, I get an old school COD feel. This is more COD than COD. That proves to me that Sony sat there and played war with me, trying to tell you with their billions of dollars they're making off of God of War and all these other games that they're making, that they can't make this. And Ubisoft did. Okay, excuse my language, bro. I apologize.
No, you can swear ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
Completely full of crap. Ubisoft. They make one type of game. Maybe
that's why. It's so true. It's so true.
So true.
And if they kill it, that's why I want this to really succeed. If they do kill it, and you know what, they potentially can. The things that they need to get right, like we've seen with any free-to-play game, you build a good base game. You need, if it's free-to-play, lots of content, as an aggressive, and I mean an aggressive and effectively good roadmap. But it can happen. Fame, you're hitting the money on the head there, because what was the line you said? Yeah, it looks more COD than COD. Yes. What does that mean? It means it's hitting, because COD has gone to so many divergent things. You had Advanced Warfare. You tried to copy Titanfall, that is doing this and that, and here you got quick, snappy gunplay. It's focused on gunplay, good maps. Mm-hmm. And it's just simple. That's just the thing that gets you.
Brief interruption. If you're enjoying the footage on screen right now, it's Roblox. Sorry.
Is that right? That's not. Oh, this is
Roblox.
The new one.
Yeah.
Bro, how is Roblox this stuns me, by the way. Like, right? Like this can't be kids making this. There's a whole like.
It's really fun,
this, right?
I didn't say Roblox is people developing games on their children. It's like a massive, vibrant developer economy on Roblox. But yes, this is Roblox.
Do they get money for it? Like, is there monetization?
Yeah, there's monetization on it.
Crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Let me read these super chats. Hustle, Motivate. Shout out to you, bro. He goes, great to see Hogs and Fame on the panel today. Shout out to Hustle, Motivate, man. We need to get you on the panel. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We're having a sick time already. BG in the chat. Thank you for the $10 super chat, man. He goes, people played 2 weeks ago back to COD like every other game. The FPS community hypes every single game that resembles COD and abandons it no matter what. What do you think about that, Hugger?
Not wrong. But
wrong.
So he's not wrong, because it's happened so many times, but Sony doesn't even need to make a new COD or like a COD killer. If I would be happy if they brought Killzone back, bring back the multiplayer of Killzone, like Killzone 3. I really enjoyed that.
3?
So many hours. 3 was my favorite.
3, that was like COD.
Yeah. And then I never played Shadowfall because I remember the controversy when that came out.
It was okay.
And I was just like Sony has their own Call of Duty, but this, I am surprised. I mean, now that they've closed Hyperscape, of course they're going to have resources to dedicate to another game. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what they do. Free to play. If it's in the same vein of Siege, it's going to be fun. I'm not going to knock it till I try it because that would be unfair for the game.
No, absolutely. You're right there. And I think generally we shouldn't write it off. But I do agree with BG when he says if you try to be like COD, you're just going to be killed by COD. But it's got its work cut against it, XDefiant. That it needs a ridiculously aggressive marketing campaign, aggressive content roadmap as well, and it needs to find ways to entice players. Otherwise, it has the behemoth that is COD against it. We've got Killzone 2 gameplay out now, and it looks 3. Sorry, and that looks like 2. That's amazing. I never played 3's multiplayer, but yeah, like if you bring back Killzone, I think it will do really well. Guerrilla Games have learned their lesson now. They've got big successes with Horizon. I think they could really scratch the itch that Halo is leaving. So let's see what XDefiant does. I've applied for the beta. Hopefully I get it. But yeah, it's Ubisoft going to back this hard, by the way, because they're desperate now. It's all hands on deck. You've seen, what's his name? Weave Gilmore. I don't know how to pronounce Gilmore. I asked my French friend how to pronounce it. He said I killed it. It was disgusting pronunciation. So I'm Gilmore. That's how I said it, but it's not it.
Close enough. We know who you're talking about.
Oh man, but that another game that has its work cut out for it is Suicide Squad, which is now delayed to February 2024.
I love how smoothly you did that. How you brought up Ubisoft's desperation and smoothly segued into what was it? Sorry,
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Carry on. I was so sure. I was so sure this was going to be the Ubisoft Plus bit, but no, it's not. Suicide Squad, carry on.
Oh shit, I didn't even write that in there. You're right. Sorry, forget that. I lied. Asa, can you tell?
I'm disruptive, sorry.
I've been busy, man. It's good. I'm glad because that's a big topic that I completely missed off the list. Ubisoft Plus has been announced for Xbox with a price that people are laughing at. Almost took away from the Redfall BS. Tell us, Asa, what's actually happening? Because I'm not that informed on this one.
So, yeah, it's not like a massive topic, but for a long time, people have been waiting for Ubisoft Plus to come to Xbox. They told us it was happening, and we were just waiting to see in what form it was, whether it has any kind of link in with Game Pass or not, whether it's the day one version of Ubisoft Plus you can get on the PC or whether it isn't. And it has landed this week very quickly without much fanfare. You can now play Ubisoft Plus on Xbox, but it's not an Xbox specific subscription. You have to subscribe directly through Ubisoft to their multi-platform access program. In the UK, it costs something like $17.99 a month, and it gets you access to Ubisoft's games on PC, Amazon Luna, and Xbox. Oh. There's not an option to subscribe to just the Xbox portion of that. You have to get the multi-platform access pack from Ubisoft. And the obvious conversations around it are like, oh, that's more than Game Pass Ultimate for a much smaller catalogue of Ubisoft games that we've already got and have had for a while. And the lineup that they're pushing going forwards to try and entice you into it is The Crew 3, Skull and Bones, and what's the other one? Assassin's Creed Mirage. So it's basically it's a hard sell, but Fame, you were giving it some thumbs. What do you think of Ubisoft Plus? Have you already subscribed?
Listen, I'm assuming you are subscribed to Ubisoft Plus.
I am really bad with subscriptions. I'm subscribed to everything. I've been subscribed to Ubisoft Plus since its inception, and I've not played a single game on the service.
So you and the 17 other people subscribed to that service. I've lost y'all's mind. $18 to play Assassin's Creed 17 times. I'm good, bucko.
I'm with you.
You would have been better off giving us a lower entry and say, hey, you get this version of Ubisoft Plus, which are Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription, like how we do with EA, right? This thing was dead on arrival. Dead on there will be 6, maybe 7 people who are running out of brain cells to rub together to think this is a good value for them. Any Ubisoft game you can get for $20 2 weeks after release. Don't fool yourself into thinking this is a good value. Just like we talked about the last topic with XDefiant, they're going to monetize the crap out of it, right? The value of that free-to-play games will be bad. This value is terrible. $18 to play a game that I can go buy for $18. It doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely. Everyone was saying that. Like, it was pretty unanimous. You're not out. They're gonna revise the price. Surely, there's not enough value there, Hugger. Who's gonna subscribe to this? That's a lot of money with a really shitty looking what's it called, roadmap of content.
It is the only way that I could see people wanting to. I can't believe I'm gonna side with EA on this. EA did it right, but the only way I can see people wanting to is the access to the vault. So if you get to play all the old Splinter Cells, Rayman, the original Assassin's Creed games.
Okay.
So like if you've never played those, but if you have Game Pass already, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is on there, Origins is on there. I'm pretty sure Valhalla's coming soon. Who knows? Watch Dogs might drop already. That's a lot of money for the same 3 games. That's a lot of money. And I know for some people, if you got $18 a month or wherever, I'm pretty sure it's going to be higher in other regions, good on you. Go enjoy it. If you love Ubisoft, go enjoy it. But that's a lot of money to not be included on top of the already $15 or $11 you're paying for Game Pass. I don't know. Man.
I'm with you there. I know I'm not a big fan of Ubisoft's games anyway, but I just feel like that point about the classics, the whole backlog, that would potentially entice me because their past games have a lot more appeal to me, and I think it would to a lot of others. But then there's a lot of overlap, like you quite correctly highlighted. Game Pass just makes so many sub-services look poor, like PlayStation Plus, which was looking good until this is such a good segue. Until this week, they removed 30 games. Big Spiderman is the big one. Like they were like, and I'm surprised. They're like, why would you take away that momentum? So what do you think about that, Hugger? Spiderman is now out, like off that service, just when PlayStation Plus was looking really good, and we were talking about it every week. Like it's starting to be good, but what's the mindset there?
I understand why, because they want to keep it fresh, but I think I know this is going to be a comparison again, like Xbox, if it's your first party titles, you should keep it on there forever. Never take it off. Let it be on there. Let it marinate. People are always going to want to play Spider-Man. Even if you have it, somebody is going to re-download it on the service and be like, let me cry at the end of this game again. Let me experience that heartbreak. Let me ugly tear Sarah Paulson cry. So to remove some of the games I could see coming off, like Balan Wonderland, like whatever, go away. But to take your main first party off of your service, I don't know. And like Baron says, if PlayStation Plus and all of them just take Crunchyroll and wrap that in there, I would definitely subscribe, even if you're taking your games off. Put Crunchyroll in there, put your anime services in there so I can get it all in one place. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. But right now, I'm kind of like, okay. And I only play PC right now. So give me something worth diving into. I'm a little disappointed in them, but I also understand the money-making angle.
That's a really good point. Again, if I had that, even for older titles, we're not asking for day and date. If you have older titles that are first party and that I know they are there, and we're not going to ugly cry playing Spider-Man, because unless I want to cry about how overrated it is. But like, I will still, I'm alone on this one apparently. But
sir.
Even Acer, who loves stealth games, he's against me on this. You're right. You're absolutely right there. I mean, Fame, have you ever? Well, do you does PlayStation Plus even stand a chance if it carries on doing like this? Or the people in chat are saying it's good. Leo Lion says PlayStation Plus is good. Harry Balzac, sorry, I'm so sorry if that's your actual last name. I'm really sorry. I thought that was a funny name.
No, it's definitely a funny name. He's definitely got you there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, has he? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
God. I felt guilty there.
All the time, dude. Don't worry.
He says it's better than Game Pass. Okay, well that's a bit of a stretch, but maybe he's right. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Listen, PS Plus is dog shit. It always has been. It always will be. With that being said, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a Quantum Break type thing where there's something weird going on with the licensing and it'll be gone for a little bit, then it'll come back. It doesn't make sense for you to take this game off of PlayStation Plus, right? A service that's already trying to keep up with the big dog that's Xbox Game Pass. Why would you take your biggest IP off the platform you're trying to grow to compete with Game Pass? It doesn't make sense. I'm really thinking this is something weird going on with the IP, and then we'll get an article from IGN next week that it's back on PlayStation Plus because Tom Holland, I don't know, it's gonna be some stupid ass reason that they come up with, and they'll be back on the platform. At the end of the day, if it's really gone, you're further proving the fact that PlayStation Plus can't compete. And this really is a bad omen if we're expecting for them to give us games day and date anytime soon. If you're already taking first party games off the service, it makes no sense. But I'm sorry, chat, that says PS Plus is good as dog shit, and it's not a good service. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, if they keep doing, they can't afford to do that, in my opinion. The momentum was building, and as soon as you do something like that, it just kind of like, oh, okay, back to square one again. We just keep the older games in there, and I think it's just, you can't. I mean, it's only by their own admission, whether or not you want to put any stock in their wording when they go to the FTC, saying like that's on a whole different level. We can never match it. There's something gamers have been saying as well. It's not just them crying fake tears, but you can't do that, in my opinion.
At the FTC?
Sorry?
No, he's at the FTC. At that Mia Khalifa's FTC?
Why are we talking about Mia Khalifa and what? I don't know who that is.
Who run the FTC? We know.
Before we
were doing a show a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the FTC, and Fame could not remember the lady's name, and he said Mia Khalifa, and I was like, I need to check your browsing history now, sir, because I'm concerned about what you're watching.
Mia Khalifa, and I was so confident that was right.
Khalifa instead of Lena Khan.
Mia Khalifa FTC trying to make stuff hard for Microsoft.
Mia Khalifa's always making something hard for everyone. Where's my soundboard? This is where the comes in. Damn it! I'm exposed without my soundboard. I need it. Sorry, Asa, what were you saying before we start?
I was just going to say, I think people might be getting a little bit ahead of themselves on the Spider-Man thing, because the version of Spider-Man that's been taken off the service is the PlayStation 4 version of Spider-Man. Sony haven't said anything, but I'll be really, really surprised if they're not going to come forward and say we're putting the PlayStation 5 version of Spider-Man in there now. If that's not the case, I mean, it is a complicated license, right? Spider-Man is a complicated license, so there could be reasons they're taking it off. But I don't think Sony are going to make a habit of taking their first-party games off of that service. They've got like 700 games in there. They keep all kinds of old shite in that service. So it's only when they're paying contracts that they're taking them off. And no, I think Spider-Man is probably going to make some people look silly in the near future.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so there is a reason. It makes sense, like what's going on. So it's potentially a licensing issue. It's the old PlayStation 4 version. We'll get the PS5 version. Keep that in there. Do you agree that should stay once you bring the older games in there and not be removed? Asa, sorry.
Me? Sorry, what?
Yeah.
What?
The question was basically like, I mean, you saw all the noise there. Whether or not it's a console warring point, well, it most likely is. But I do think there's more to it than that. If you can't just pull, when the service is looking good, you can't just pull it away like the first party, because that's where the name, like the brand or whatever, the value in this service is always carried by the first parties. So PlayStation Plus was looking good, but if they bring this in now, Spider-Man comes back again. into the service.
That's an interesting thing, though, because you're saying that the value of these things is always carried by the first party, but I can't think of any examples where that's been true so far. In a marketing bit, because Microsoft have obviously marketed that their first party games are going in their day and date, and it will become a significant thing for them, but it's not happened so far, has it? The PlayStation Plus service in general, like, they have got a broad catalogue. They are pushing it in a slightly different direction to Xbox. We know, I'd say if you're looking at Sony and saying they should be putting their day one first party games in there straight away, that's obvious. It's a no-brainer. They want to compete with Game Pass and all the rest of it. Then you also have to look at Ubisoft and see how much a service that has day and date games costs, because Ubisoft release like 2 or 3 games a year for £17 a month. So it's not as simple a conversation as people would have you believe, but I mean, it's their own strategy, and they can take it where they want to go. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they can take it wherever. They can take it to the gutters. They can take it to the toilet. Ultimately, they have a fight on their hands, even if it is PlayStation. Because if this Xbox, which is this tiny piece of pie, I see the ponies galloping in the chat. But if it is, you have to answer yourself: why is Xbox Game Pass still besting that? And Sony's admission it's besting it on numbers is because of that. These marketing beats are important. So that's what I'm saying. They cannot afford to. As a policy, they should, if they introduce older games, and Sony has an incredible library of first-party exclusives, keep it there. Do not remove it. I just found it weird. Like, is this going to be a strategy? They're going to pull it away.
Do you know what they say? Like, I know, like, I've probably upset some people by saying what I said then, because there's some people that are very staunchly in favor of like one strategy over the other. So when I say like Microsoft giving their first party games in the service as they are is fantastic for us as gamers, but obviously you need a certain scale of service before that becomes profitable. So in Sony's side of things, they clearly don't have that scale yet. It's not going to be profitable for them yet, and they could get to that point and it could change. But you can look at that and say, well, Sony are being pricks then, but then you can look at Microsoft and say, we're still paying for Xbox Live Gold, aren't we? So maybe both companies could do us a little bit better as consumers in terms of how they handle their subscription services. Absolutely. As consumers, we should just take advantage of the good ones while they're good. So if Microsoft's service is appealing to us right now, which it is, like Starfield's coming, Redfall we'll talk about later, but all the rest of it, there's loads of games, pay for it. If you like Sony's game offering, pay for it. If you don't like either of them, pay for them anyway, like I do with Ubisoft.
Oh man, yeah, don't do what Asa does. But yeah, shout out to Shabs for being a member for 18 months. After Wilson Fisk, I stopped playing. I really don't get the hype of Spiderman, apart from being a beloved character. Great panel as usual. Shout out to you, man, and thank you. And yeah, absolutely. I'm there with you. I think the traversal mechanics, the visuals, and perhaps the main story, they were really good. But the rest of it,
great story.
I just didn't. I'd play Miles Morales. I'm still holding on to that because everyone's like, "That's the game you want to play, Gaz." I'm like, "All right, let me play that one." Because I like. He
got stuck at the pigeon mission and then never went further.
Yeah, I completed the game, but I was just like, "This is like, where's it?" I felt like, "Where's it?" Like, I completed all of some of the side missions. I'm like, right, pigeon missions. That base that Harry guy has for research stations plopped everywhere, like these big little, no one noticed these high-tech little bases plopped on the top of the buildings. Oh, here he goes, there's some smog, clear it up, environment. I was like, this is all like, what is this? There's a bit of a basic open world with its basic tropes slapped onto a beautiful game. And just, I don't know, I didn't feel it. I also didn't care for Peter Parker that much, but that's why I think I like Miles Morales. Because I like Miles better already. Just looks much cooler. But speaking of, well, it seems like pretty negative. Dreams shut down, PlayStation Plus shut down, Suicide Squad delayed. Now we finally get into it. 2024, and it's obvious. Suicide Squad was getting a very middling response from its state of play, the state of play reveal, and they've obviously developed this game the same time as Thingy was being developed, Avengers, and they thought it would be a good idea to start copying all the, gas or whatever, battle passy stuff, and the public were not happy. But ultimately, I think people would have even tolerated it if the gameplay looked good, and in some parts it does look good, but people are asking, well, I'm not going to, this is about you guys, you need to tell me, Haga, what's going to happen? That's a big delay. That's a chunky delay. But what are you expecting them to change? And what should they change if Suicide Squad is to stand a chance of being successful?
I think they probably should scale back on the gas and all that stuff, because you don't want to be the next Ghost Recon Breakpoint, because that will kill your game immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You want good, solid combat, good, solid gameplay. The story can be mid if the gameplay can carry. I thought Avengers, the single player story was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a excellent exploration into the characters. And I'm hoping Suicide Squad does that, because from the trailers we've seen, it looks really good. Harley, like everything looks cool, but there is some of those gameplay mechanics that you see that are like, oh, I don't know about that. Because these are characters that we've had the first Suicide Squad movie where a lot of people that didn't read the comics were now introduced to the live action version of these. And now we've had the second Suicide Squad movie where it retconned a lot of stuff. And now people are being reintroduced to these, especially we are in a weird spot where we talk about this stuff. We watch movies, we watch the comic, or we read the comics. We know about these characters, but there's a lot of people that don't, and might be because they watch Suicide Squad, might want to play this game. So I think they gotta just polish it up a little bit. Don't lean into microtransactions. Don't part out the story. Make sure everything can be rounded up in a thing, like the whole game, and just have fun with it. Don't take yourself too seriously either, because Suicide Squad isn't serious. Just have fun with it and play it. Don't be too serious.
I think all the things you just said there, one, they're attainable, and two, I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to really flesh out the story bits. The thing that will make this better is if they focus and flesh out the story elements to detract from maybe some of the problems, should I say. The big problem a lot of people are saying is there doesn't seem to be any distinction between the four characters. They all have guns. They're all shooting stuff. Shark, Harley Quinn, like Deadshot. What's the difference between these guys? Like, they all look the same. That is a problem I don't know if they can fix mechanically, or maybe in a year they can start working on something. What would you do there? Like, it's a bit.
You'd have to remake the characters pretty much. Just like sit down.
They don't have time for that.
I know, that's the thing. Like, I'm all for games being delayed. Mass Effect Andromeda, I always bring this up. Mass Effect Andromeda should have been delayed, and then maybe the story would have been finished. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, delay the game, let it cook, let it marinate, let it get better. I don't know how they're going to differentiate the characters though, with the base they have already.
Yeah.
You brought up the Avengers, and I was an avid Avengers player, right? Loved Avengers. I know people hated it. I loved it. But where it's running circles around this game is that every character felt different. Whether I'm Thor, whether I'm Iron Man, if I'm the Hulk. Imagine, I'm gonna be as the Hulk. Here's my AK fucking 47. Like, no, like that doesn't make sense. Like, needs to be smashing. And that's the big issue with this game.
How badass would it look? Hulk with an AK. Well, it look tiny in his hands. But big one. It looked like a boss. In fact, I'm going to tell Midjourney right now to generate Incredible Hulk. I'm actually doing it. I shouldn't do this, but like, imagine the Incredible Hulk, and I'll share it on Twitter. Imagine the Incredible Hulk with an AK-47.
It would be in the PC mods.
Yeah.
PC mod.
Let's see what it generates. That's how easy it is nowadays. This technology is scary. It's going to generate something mad. But yeah, you're right, man. It doesn't feel right. Like, I'm starting to get into comic books, and I'm like feeling the source now. I want to talk about it now because everyone's like, "Oh, shut up, guys, about X-Men." But yeah, I don't know much about these characters, but like even then, it just like, even to say a layman like me, I'm like, they all look the same. Like, what does the Shark do that's different? What is Harley Quinn doing that's different? The movement is insane in this game. Generally, though, the gameplay looks great. I just feel like Rocksteady's just like they are known for that cinematic, the Batman games. This is still in the same universe, by the way, same lore, same everything. And then you got these cysts on tanks and bosses. It's just like, I've done this kind of stuff before. What are you going to do that's different? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to change. Asa, if you were them and it was possible in a year, what would you actually seek to change in this game?
It is difficult. It's got the characters all being the same. We've laughed before about like Shark being all big, being all strong, having all of these teeth, and then using a gun to shoot things. It's just like ridiculous. But it's so structurally baked into the game. It's the same thing that Marvel's Avengers did, where you've got all of these characters, but they all need to get through the same structured levels and the same environments. So their tool set essentially needs to be exactly the same to avoid design headaches. And I can't see them going back and changing that. So I think what we see in the gameplay trailer is what we're going to get. It's already looks pretty polished. So what they're going back and adding is a question. I'd like to see them really scale back. Like, this is what everybody says it so often. We need less gas. Gas? We need less gas. I'd be happy if they just went in and scaled that back, restructured it a little bit, said, actually, games with battle passes are tanking at the moment. We're not going to be able to go up against the likes of Spiderman 2 with a service game. So let's make it more of a contained experience. Maybe they can achieve that in a year. I'd be happy if they did.
I think they can. I think they can. I think if
Warner Brothers, they're not likely to, are they? Unless they're really seeing a lot of backlash in the consumer space. Yeah.
I think Rocksteady and Warner Brothers are loggerheads with each other. I think they're really pissed off. I think that's going to be a relationship that they're going to be. It's going to be pretty frayed. And this delay was as a result of them sitting down and said, "We told you this is not working. You saw the public sentiment. We need to remove that out of the game. If you're going to stand any chance of reclaiming any positive goodwill in this game, let's remove that, because that in itself is a positive marketing beat. We have removed Battle Pass." Everyone's like, yo, okay, now we'll take this seriously. Now show us. And we've got this. And we've added extra content. We have 50 hours or whatever, 30 hours, 40 hours of core story content. And hey, people have asked us, what's the difference between the 4 characters? Let us show you. Even if it's a little bit subtle as marketing, like Shark can go through buildings or something, or, so I'm just throwing it out there. So it can be done. I know I'm not a developer, so yeah, it can definitely be done. Get it done. But I think the Rocksteady's reputation is on the line there, Hugger, and I think that's where the pressure is coming from internally. They don't want to lose that.
Yeah, and I think Gotham Knights and the way that was received probably didn't help the way what we saw from Suicide Squad. But Rocksteady is always going to be good. I think maybe Warner Brothers, you're right. Warner Brothers might have put their fingers into their pies a little too much. And now they're like, just let us make the game we want to make and we can do it. We have a track record of making good games. Let us make the game that we know we can make.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you're right. And I think after this, I think if I put myself in my position, if I can, based on what I know in their position, I'll just say, okay, let's just, I think it's a damage control exercise. They possibly built a really good look. I mean, it's gameplay wise, it looks really good. It looks good, but not what we would expect from the studio. But it does look very, polished, like you say. So graphically, it looks pretty good. I think after this, you can expect Rocksteady to go back possibly to a Batman game. I think that. So
you're saying it was delayed because of issues with the Series S? Just like trying to pin some words on you that'll go down really well.
Where did that come from? No, definitely did not say that. But yeah, Games Lord with a €5 super chat. He goes, "Thank you, man." He goes, AC Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla have different characters, stories, and environments. There are similarities, but ultimately different games with solid combat. Okay, I'll take that. I'm not a big fan of those games, but people love them, especially Odyssey and Origins is held in high
Origins
esteem.
is really good. It revived the series. It was the game that they took a break from. And they revived it. Odyssey is good. Valhalla, I'm excited to play though.
Yeah, I mean, Origins is the only one I think I've kept it installed because Colt Eastwood keeps telling us play Origins. So I'm
Please go
all right.
play it.
Yeah, I started the starting like tutorial, like you're under this like sand place or a coliseum or something. I don't remember what it was. I was like, that's not grabbing me, but I'll try it. I need to play it. I need to play it. Hoggy Channy with a $5 super chat. Shout out to you, man, guys. There's some distinction. There is some distinction between the characters in Suicide Squad. They do all have weapons, but they have specific abilities for each character. I think they need to show that off a little bit more and flesh that out, perhaps, because I can't think of them.
No, they will though. But this is. I had to chat with someone. Sorry, I missed your name in chat about the way that the Marvel's Avengers game handled that, because it's like Crystal Dynamics kind of did really well. The characters felt distinct in their own way, but you could really feel the commonality in their tool sets when you compared Spider-Man in Marvel's Avengers against Spider-Man in his own game. Then you can see then the limitations are quite well defined in terms of all of these heroes. They've got their different ways of traversing. They can like web around, they can fly around, they can walk around, all at about the same speed so that a team of 4 can play together. And it's like these kind of things are design constraints. So they're not technical limitations. They're not like design failings. They're things that make sense for a game where you've got 4 people that need to achieve the same ends with each other. Yeah. So it's just a thing like that's going to be there in the end product.
That's the thing. It's harder to do like 4-player co-op like that because of those design constraints. But if they can somehow get away from that, and that means they've designed a game world mechanically that is very fluid, that caters for 4 different characters that play in their own pacing. I'm not saying it's easy because enemy design and level design would have to cater for that. But that's the kind of thing we think of when the game is first shown off. And then we end up being surprised when they show off this and we're asking the questions that we are. So you're absolutely right. Design has to cater for it. I think it's just kind of a mental note that when you do see a game like this and you see these different characters that have their own styles in the lore in the movies, you're not really going to get much different there, which is like even Guardians of the Galaxy, its combat system was very restrained. You're only focusing really on the main guy. Yeah. And the other side, the other characters, yeah. But then you don't really care that much for it because their character shines through. It's a single player experience though, so it's slightly different. But yeah, let's see. The work cut out to you, Rocksteady. Best of luck to you, man, because I feel like it is Warner Brothers that's screwing you over. Before we go into the Redfall topic, there's just a couple of things. State of play. Final Fantasy 16 is looking so good, man. The more I see it, like every time we talk about Final Fantasy 16, it just looks better and better and better. And the combat, it looks so good. Like, Alex, no one gives a shit about turn-based combat. No, they do, and I understand. But that combat, along with the visuals, even though I don't like the setting that much, it doesn't feel very Final Fantasy to me. But it's like the gameplay wise, it's looking mad. This is looking like this is looking at a proper 90s meta game now to me. And not that if anyone gives a shit about meta, but Hug, are you a Final Fantasy fan? Are you impressed by this? What are your thoughts of it if you saw the state of play gameplay?
It was, you pretty much hit it spot on. It looks really good. The setting is going to be interesting. I'm down for it. What I don't want them to do is what they did with Final Fantasy 15 is leave lore out. So you have to go watch Kingsglaive. You have to go watch the anime Brotherhood. They took important parts of the guys' story and put it in the DLC. Keep it a unified project, but Final Fantasy has always been, I know some people have their favorites. It's always been a solid project and a solid product that they put out, even though 15 took so long. And I'm going to play this when it comes out. It looks good.
This is day one for me now. It wasn't even on my radar before because I was looked at it. But now look at this combat. It's like Devil May Cry meets Final Fantasy. It looks sick.
Good. It looks really good.
It looks mad. Fame, are you a Final Fantasy guy? Are you hyped for this?
Yeah, dude. Final Fantasy May Cry look dope. Even though they don't have black people in the game, but
yeah, that's true. We talked about that the other day.
Yeah, but sir, did you down turn-based RPG? The superior RPG is the turn-based RPG, sir. Like,
Why? I mean, come on, man. It's an aging old design, man. Look at it. Look at this.
it's still the superior RPG. I really hope this Final Fantasy 9 remake is real, and it's still in the same turn-based RPG. But Final Fantasy May Cry does look really good. I know for a lot of people who are on Xbox or PC, like, you really might be missing out on an amazing game, right? And just hope it goes to the platform that you own. 'Cause I think this is one of those titles where no matter what side of the fence you may sit on, you got to look at this and say, this game looks amazing, right? And it's matching up, two amazing, type of game with the way Final Fantasy evolved to, and the DMC stuff. It looks great. It's definitely a day one type of game that I think most people will likely be looking out for, even if they decide that Black people didn't exist during that time.
That's true.
Yeah, I see a lot of that. And that's a fair concern. I think. Okay, can I ask you this question? If there are no people of color in the game, which there aren't, I'm told. I don't know. Or just no Black people in the game. But if that guy, I forgot his name, didn't make that stupid statement, whatever the hell it was, like some bullshit, because it's a fantasy game fixed in reality. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if he didn't make that statement, would you care if there were no Black people in the game?
Because most games don't got no. And it's not like we look at a game like, oh, I'm playing the game because it got Black people in it.
Exactly.
I don't care. But you can't say, yeah, we didn't do it. He should have just not said anything. We don't do it because it's a fantasy setting, and in this fantasy setting, Black people are still in Africa, and we're not in Africa. Whatever he said, right? It was just kind of silly. He should have just kind of just
maybe
like,
not that. If he said that would be really bad. We're not in Africa. All the Black people are in Africa. But maybe
just let it go.
What if he said is like, it just didn't, like, we get it, but it didn't fit the story, but what particular story we're telling. We didn't want to shoehorn characters for the sake of it, as out of respect.
The key would have been, you don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to respond to everything. The best thing would have him to been is just not to have responded. Big deal.
Then silence can breed enmity as well. They were like, they came back and spoken, had some like questions on its incorporation of the character, which was Black. But then they were like, so you're right though. Sometimes it's better not to say anything.
Because we wouldn't even have noticed. Honestly, we'd have played our game and been like, okay, whatever. Wouldn't have noticed. I'd have been like, these characters are dope. The story is dope. I would keep on, like Fame said, I'm not playing a game because it has Black characters in it, or people of color in it, or a person of color lead. I'm playing it because I want to enjoy the story. The fact that that was the main talking point about it for so long is just like, especially in today's world, it was just like, ooh, shouldn't have said anything. Or maybe should have worded that better.
I'll go play 2K. But it's a plus if you see it. But if I really cared about just seeing Black people game, I'll just play 2K all day because that's mostly Black characters.
That's the only game that Dino plays. Only plays this 2K. But yeah, you're right. In this day and age, you can't really make those kind of mistakes. But I don't think they mean it maliciously. But ultimately, bring it back to the game. If you like your turn-based, but if this bangs looks as good as it looks, you might say goodbye to turn-based strategies in Final Fantasy going forward. You might Asa, would you're a purist, and you like Final Fantasy and turn-based games. You have some, like, you said it like on the other show, like you kind of agree with Alex.
I would like to see Final Fantasy I would like to have seen a world where Final Fantasy stuck with what they were good at from like 10 onwards and didn't do what they did with 13 and 15. But I like exactly what the floor hugger said. A Final Fantasy game is usually a high budget, really well-rounded product at the end of the day, even the ones that aren't the best ones. I didn't like Final Fantasy 15, but it had like a phenomenal soundtrack. It's the thing I always come back to in Final Fantasy games is I will buy them because the soundtracks are so good. And the production value around it matches up to that. I look at this one and I hear everyone praising it, and I'm like, this looks wank to me.
Really?
I stand out from everybody else looking at this and think this looks kind of wank. Like the Devil May Cry
Wait,
bits
hold
look
on. You
fairly
just said
fun.
it was good.
No,
you mean the
I said
combat
Final
looks fun?
Fantasy games are typically big budget games I want to get, and this one's the same. Like, I will get it. The trailer that they had at the Game Awards was really like it got me with that trailer, and I said I'm getting this day one. State of Play I wouldn't have watched because I'd already decided that I'm buying this game. I happen to have it on in the background because I do my show on a Thursday and it clashed with it, so I had it up in the background. I wasn't paying like that much attention to it because I was talking to people as we went, but I kept seeing things like, why am I watching Pan's Dragoon Saga now? Not Pan's Dragoon Saga, but like Pan's Dragoon Vi. What's going on? Did the show run? Did State of Play end and Pan's Dragoon remake come on? Or have I missed something? And then you got this like Primal Rage beat 'em up section, and it's like, what? Why? I don't. That's why have they done this? Why have they called this a Final Fantasy game? Rename your demon away from Ifrit and Shiva. This looks nothing like Final Fantasy. Keep your fucking chocobos. Shove them wherever. Make a different Final Fantasy game. Call this one Forspoken 2, and we'll be done with it.
Hey, so with the sauce, constantly surprising with the sauce. Well, okay, I guess it depends on what Final Fantasy means to you. If the combat is such an instrumental part of the Final Fantasy experience, which is the gameplay, so I understand. For me, for someone who has never actually completed fully a Final Fantasy game, and the game that I always go back to is Final Fantasy VIII, it's the story, the characters, the music. It's Ifrit coming down and like the Guardians, like with the power-ups, that it's a mix of everything. The story and the characters are what I care for. And Squall, even as much of a prick he was, I like that prick. And he was just not simping for the chick until later on. And I just felt like, yeah, for me, it's a sum of everything. But I understand, Asa, your sentiments.
Despite what I say, it is one of the rare games that I will buy straight away because it is a Final Fantasy game and the name carries a lot of meaning and it will sound good. Maybe they'll like animate the faces by the time it comes out. I don't know.
You know what? All the PlayStation guys really love you now. I'm going to clip that bit just selectively. Like, what's that? Pony Nick Massey does, and I'm just going to clip that and share it out of context and see what happens. I'm just going to sit back and then watch. I was like, Asa, hey, this is what he said. Shout out to 108 Dragon in the chat, man. He's like, thank you for the 2 super chats. He goes, what's good? What's good? My gaming community stay awesome. Stay you too as well, man. And he says, and he agrees with you, Flame. He says, he calls you Flame, but he says, you're correct.
I get that a lot. All good.
Yeah, he says Final Fantasy 16 is what he said, no go, and I think it's based on the political stuff. Well, it's fair enough. Fair enough. If that's the position you want to take, that's fine. Before, again, there's a lot of topics here. PlayStation Portable, why is that on the list? Ghostwire Tokyo. I played that briefly, actually. Slept on it because I knew I was going to join Game Pass eventually when it was out last year on PlayStation. But hey, man, that game is actually, there's so many games to play now, but Ghostwire Tokyo is on Game Pass and a lot of people are playing it. And it's actually, 1, a beautiful game, 2, the story is really cool, and 3, the combat and stuff is just like playing Naruto first person. It's just like, it looks so cool. What are how can you play this? What you feeling? What are you feeling this game?
I was actually kind of surprised because I am in like an open world burnout. I just kind of had to stop playing open world games. Yeah. But it has kind of reminded me of Yakuza and Persona, where I bet you if I overlaid the map with Shibuya, it'd be like a 1-to-1. And the gameplay makes it different because you're right. Naruto, you're doing seals, you're beating yokai, you're doing all kinds of really cool stuff that, yes, it is an open world, but it makes it fun and different and exciting. And you get powers, and I'm trying to like understand the story so far, and it's hooked me in. I was playing it before I came here, and I'm just kind of blown away that people really didn't like it at first. I was kind of surprised by that, but I can also understand because it is kind of different from, because you use your spells, you have your bow, and that's kind of really it. So if you're not into the supernatural or mysticism or Japanese folklore, you're not really going to like it.
Yeah. It's very squarely those kind of Japanese like mysticism and weird folk. The story is very strongly It's so unique though, and I am finding myself like really like I care about the characters now. Let him find his sister. What the hell is that thing? You know,
Yeah.
give me more story about the guys inside your body. Like what's going on there? There's
It's
a lot.
very-
It's very the story actually is done really well. It's not super cheesy as well, which I find sometimes in games. Like sometimes, often the subtitles are really bad, but the voice acting is really good in Japanese. It just has a vibe, which I'm surprised. I just like you. I'm surprised. PlayStation guys play all kind of games, right? But this one, Sam, you didn't back your chat on that one, PlayStation community. Whether the Xbox community actually bothers playing it in any decent numbers also remains to be seen. But Xbox guys, if you're going to be capping hard for ZeniMax, make sure you play this game because I think you'll be surprised. It's a great game so far. I didn't realize it was open world though because I've gone past. I won't ruin it. I've gone past chapter 1 and I'm starting to.
Basically, you unlock Torii gates and it'll clear the map and then you can just explore. It's very
yeah, that's what I did. The first gate I just cleared up.
And you'll open up the whole world. And I will say this, if you guys love like very Japanese games, it's a very Japanese game.
Yes.
There is graffiti of little dogs you can find. There's little capsule machines where you can get figures to take pictures with. It's very Japanese and you can find different outfits. You can talk to yokai to do side missions. It's so like, there's so much to do that is almost like a little overwhelming at times, but it's worth at least getting past the first few chapters to try it. Please try it.
Absolutely. I was just surprised by the visual and quality of it as well. It's a very good looking game. And there's so many like modes as well, like performance mode, quality, and blah, 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 blah. It's really, really good. Fame, have you played this game? Oh, no, you haven't. You said you've installed it.
No, I haven't installed. I look forward to playing it in 60 FPS. I think 60 FPS is a must. But it reviewed well. I think it's at like an 84, 85 on Metacritic. But let's keep it a bean. A certain community didn't like it because they knew that it was essentially an Xbox IP.
That's why. That's why.
Because it's going to be an Xbox IP, so I can't really give it the credit it deserves. Now, again, I haven't played it, so I can't really say, oh, the game is great, the game is good. But based off the scores, it seems to be. I mean, people try to poop on low 80s games for some reason. 80 it's a great score. So it's at about 84, 85. Most people who play it say it's a good game. It's weird that a good game didn't get the type of reception that it probably should have and the sales it should have. But I'm looking forward to having it installed, and I'm looking forward again to playing it at 60 frames per second.
You are on it
is
today.
60 frames. You'll be great for that.
I'll say it's like infamous that everybody knows I still run a 980 Ti and I'm still getting 60 and it looks good. It looks fantastic on PC. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful game, not only just raw visual fidelity, but also some of the art style, especially when you have the almost yo-yo. So how did they come up with this idea? Mushrooms, definitely. Yeah. But they like that yo-yo with the little string and you pull the souls in. So cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so nice.
Play it after this.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Actually, I was playing it before the show started. It's a great game. Asa, have you played Ghostwire Tokyo?
I've played about 10 minutes of it. I've had my eye on it for a long time since it came out like a year ago, whenever it was, because I like that studio. I like the Evil Within games, and I very much wanted to play this, but it was clearly coming to subscription services before too long, which obviously is now on all of them, so I can play it. I've not got very far into it. I've done, like I say, I started it up to record some stuff a couple of days ago. I've stood in the rain for a little while and I've looked at an umbrella, got through like the first little sequence and little bits of combat. The game, like, it appeals to me. I want to play it. It's really well featured visually. I'm playing it on the PC and it's nicely done, performant, loads of bells and whistles, and it looks good. And it's going to be fun. The main criticism that I hear around the game is that like it feels a little unfinished as you get into it. As you explore the corners, it gets a bit repetitive and feels like they just needed a little bit more. I haven't got that far myself, so I can't really say that. But no, I'm going to be all over that one as soon as I can. There's a lot of games to play there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you as well. Like, there's a lot to play there, and it was on my radar, but I knew it was inevitably joining Game Pass. A lot of people are like, why are you playing it now? It's like, well, we knew we were going to play it for free, hence why we were going to play it. But I am taken aback by, I thought it was like level based. It'll be pretty basic with the combat and stuff, but there's a fully fledged proper game. Tango Gameworks, man, like Microsoft are lucky with ZeniMax, with some like Tango Gameworks. Evil Within, these games were held and had a cult following. But these games,
funny. It's like because obviously Tango did Hi-Fi Rush as well, and we said at the time, like, this is almost an accident, because this isn't why Microsoft have gone in for the deal. Like, Tango are just like, this comes free, the breadsticks, I'll have them as well. And Hi-Fi Rush and this game are like, this is a big part of the ZeniMax deal now. People are loving this studio, so.
Exactly. And it's not all about big bangers, like you said. Like, people have like an aversion to low 80s games, but like look at this game. Like, a Hi-Fi Rush for me was like a solid 8-9 out of 10, and Ghostwire Tokyo looks like it might be that, obviously very early in my playthrough. But these are unique games. You can't. It's gonna be hard, irrespective of Microsoft's big fumbles, which will be coming inevitably with their big AAAs. Like, some of these incidental first-party games are starting to bang, really give an identity beyond what Xbox has ever had. Arguably, they did have some pretty incredible JRPGs. Well, I say that Lost Odyssey is the one that I think of. But after that, I can't see that kind of variety in the DNA until now. So whilst there's negative news with Redfall, even though that hasn't come out and we haven't seen the reviews for the game, there's like these silent successes. Don't downplay them. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much for the $2 super check. Is already 2 hours in, playing on PC, maxed out, looks fire. Yes, it does. It's a good game. People chat. This is not cap because it's a Game Pass game. Definitely something you need to check out. Shout out to everyone in chat. Shout out to 300 plus people watching. Smash that like button. Neil B, I see you. Fun Speculation, Simple Gaming, all of you guys. He says, Simping says, I hated Gaz's voice, but now I kind of like your takes. I hate my voice too, but also love my takes.
Love your voice.
Yeah, people are weird about that. Now, let's talk about it. Okay, it's time. Fame, you wanted to talk about it. Just go. Redfall 60 frames is not happening on Xbox Series consoles. This console that eats monsters for breakfast. Eats monsters for breakfast. It does not do that if a game like Redfall is running at 30 frames on the Series S console. They announced this 3 weeks before the game is released. It had a negative PR campaign as a result of IGN's pretty shit gameplay reveal. And, Cole Eastwood's getting it. He's like, you went to the media event. You didn't tell us it was playing on PC. People are coming at me for some reason. He's your friend. You should have asked him. What the hell do you want me to ask him? What do you want me to ask him? Like, I asked him, and I was like, what did you play? I played on PC, but they had an NDA. Blah. But this is a lesson, Cole. Don't just accept any invite, because these guys use you for marketing beats, and they strangle you with NDAs, and then you take the brunt of it, and then they'll just shit on your chest. No support. But that's a lesson to learn as a content creator. I'm not trying to give you a speech there, Cole, but it is interesting to watch the spectacle of madness. This Xbox eats monsters for breakfast, and Acer spamming the space button as he pause play. Pause play. It's all you're doing. He's such a dick. Acer is DJing the play button to mimic the gameplay for Redfall. Oh man, yeah. A2, he is my friend, of course. Some friends need some tough love. But yeah, like Acer, you're such a dick for that. I love it. This was the gameplay. I saw very little damage control, but I did see damage control. But most of the community is pissed. Fame. On that note, let it go. Let it go. So you can understand why I just said that.
Deathloop was 60 FPS on PlayStation 5 when it released, right? Yeah. Ghostwire Tokyo, 60 FPS on PlayStation 5 when it released.
Yeah.
Oh, how in the hell did Microsoft okay a game to release at 30 FPS on their own goddamn platform? This game should be delayed. It really shows in total. I have a Series X, I pay $800 total for these consoles, right? So I have a $500 box, and you mean to tell me that the same, even though they're Tango and then Arkane, right? You're telling me that these same developers can get these games day one without a delay to launch with a 60 FPS mode on a PlayStation 5. When you say you acclaim you have the most powerful console, that my dumbass went out and believed you and bought for $5. Now I love my Xbox, don't get me wrong, but for $500, and you're telling me that the game is only going to launch at 30 FPS. Now 60 FPS. That's like someone offers you a salary and say, "I'm gonna start you off at 40K this year and 80K later." I don't want now. I want the 80 later. I'll take the later, bro. FPS, a first-person shooter, should never in this generation run at 30 FPS. And they have no excuses. It's not launching on the Xbox One. There is not another console that it has to also support and put work on. Its only purpose is to run on the Series S, the Series X, and PC. And at some point, Microsoft has to go out and say, you know what? We need to make the console important, right? We have to make it important. We're telling you, hey, please come back and buy a console for $500. I want some goddamn priority. I want to feel good for buying this platform, right? If I have a PlayStation 5, I know for a fact that Sony's going to make sure this game is going to give everything it needs to be day one. They're not going to tell you God of War is going to be 30 now, 60 later. We're going to give you a 60 mode right now. If a third-party game, you can't control it, I get it. But for a first-party title, this is a bad look. And don't get me started thinking Starfield is going to be 60. Don't hold your breath. And
there's that angle as well. Baron in chat with a super chat. Fame is a bot.
I am. But the worst part about this, Gas, is that we're here 30 FPS. Good luck it being a stable 30 FPS. Like, if I'm a single frame dip, I'm going to lose it. I don't want to. The Digital Foundry video of this game having spots at 20 FPS is going to be a shit show on Twitter. It's going to be bad. This game needs to be delayed. I do not want to play this game at 4K 30. 4K is overrated. If you say I got to play it at 1440p, 60 FPS, that is perfectly fine with me. But we should not spend $500 and accept 30 FPS. As much as I love my Xbox, Microsoft deserves every bit of smoke it receives for releasing this game in the state that it is. We should not accept incomplete games, because that is what this is. Even though I'm looking forward to it, it's an incomplete game.
Wow. Strong words. Incomplete game, value proposition, marketing, negligent misrepresentation, all of it thrown in there, Fame. It is intolerable. That's what Fame says. And I agree with every single word that came out of your mouth there, bro. Everything you said there. And I think most Xbox community will be doing that, apart from some psychotic people on chat, on Twitter, who are like doing some massive leaps. They were like, yeah, it's bad. But we need to stop focusing on the negative. It's always the people who are like, oh, it's bad, but... Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's good to be negative, but don't be negative too much. Like, just because you like to habitually suck the of every corporation and then trying to pretend that it's critique... People are entitled to feel a certain way, especially the people who back the console warring point. I saw some console warriors. Keep the same energy, man. You cannot do that. That's my view on it. Sorry. Floor hugger. Look to me. Maybe you can calm me down. Or maybe you can add to the source. Tell us what you're thinking about this situation.
I'm with you guys. Like I said, I play PC, but... Yeah. If you spent the money to get the console, you should feel like you matter.
Yeah.
Like that you are important to the ecosystem and you're not just a gear in the machine. Because you guys are. Console players are the reason why we can have the Game Pass, we can have all the nice things. You guys need to feel valued, especially in the US. This game is $70. Here in Canada, this game is $90.
Jeez.
I am not paying. I'm going to get on Game Pass, but I am not paying $90 for a game that runs at 30 FPS. And on top of that, we still have the issue of the co-op. If you join your co-op partner, the story does not continue for you.
That's
Like
crap.
that makes no sense to me.
I don't agree with that decision.
I'm excited to see how well it's going to do, because we talked to Layla Ellison's voice actor, Queen Novi, and she's super hyped for it. She made me like want to play it, but this makes me hold off until the 60 FPS thing is going to drop, and who knows when that's going to happen.
Exactly. Who knows when?
Away.
Exactly. Yeah. We have no idea of when that is an indication. It's very soon after, only a few days, blah, blah, blah. None of it. So we have no idea. No idea. Asa, this must have surprised even you, sir. As wise as you are, an oracle, you did not expect this.
You know already, it did surprise me, yeah, because I look at it visually, and I've always said I like this game visually. I like what they've gone for with the way that it's really well handcrafted and designed. Everything's really specifically placed. Every single light is like someone has put that there on purpose, and it looks great. But at the same time, it's always looked like none of those, well, most of these lights, including the player's torch, don't cast shadows. And I look at things like this and think, yeah, this is style over technology. Like, this is artist's design that's making this look good, but the technology is quite conservative, really. So it's probably going to run really well, I naively thought. But then you look at the Xbox Series S runs this game at 1440p and 30 frames per second, and that strongly suggests that there is a fair amount of headroom on that Series X graphics card. Like, it could run this faster if it was just a question of visuals. But it does have that untethered co-op that's causing so many problems these days. It does have
Is that what you think it
free
is?
roaming. That's my best guess. There's probably a whole load of developers that worked on Gotham Knights sitting there going, look, we're not freaking idiots, it's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But like, so this is far from reality. But what I'd like to see in an ideal world is this is a Microsoft game, and Microsoft have the biggest, best gaming cloud infrastructure in the world. So if untethered co-op is a problem, get your world simulation running elsewhere. Charge me for Xbox Live Gold, make it worth something. Give me my 60 frames per second. Leave the 30 frames for the offline mode if you must, if it's really hard to do. Make that subscription worthwhile. But, I mean, they'll get there. Arkane, they wouldn't be promising a 60 frames per second patch in future if they didn't think they could pull it off on these consoles in the way that it's been designed. So how long it'll be, I don't know. If they just go quiet and never deliver it, it will bite them in the ass because people will not forget. Which is a good point, actually. The like one of the biggest problems that they've had, and a lot of people have pointed this out already. It's not my original thought or anything, but the fact that it has been so heavily marketed at 60 frames per second for so long, people don't forget. So
yeah, absolutely. Every bit of the gameplay was shown at 60 frames. Low tier gaming in chat says, tone down the graphics if they can't work out the performance. Do you want this to look like a PlayStation 2 game?
But it's not about graphics either, because we have Microsoft Flight Simulator that is running on consoles, and that game is more demanding than this game will ever be.
Yeah, and it is running on 30, but that's a whole different visual beast.
Yeah,
like, that looks like real life.
I can exactly. So this fantasy world of vampires, run it at 60.
Absolutely. I see a lot of people complaining, like, and the damage control is like, well, you better not be capping for Zelda because that's going to be running at 30. I'm like, how fucking disingenuous is that argument? Are you going to compare this to a Switch game? Was that shown off at 60? Was that a Switch game? I mean, this is a thing that eats monsters for breakfast. It doesn't look, it has great touches. Like you said, Asa, it's not a technically proficient next-gen game. It's the art style that carries the game. But this does not scream next-gen. It does not do that. And this is a first-party game. And like you said, Fame, you're not working on other you can't even use the excuse like the parity clause is the reason why this console why this game is not running that smooth. So there it is, DeliverX. Zelda frames, same energy. What are you talking about? Don't tell me you're doing that seriously. That is such a dumb point. One, this is a first-person shooter. Two, it's not that technically proficient. Three, it's running on the Series X consoles. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. It's really bad. And Xbox need to fix up. And really, we need to be aggressively demanding that comes out very soon. Will it, though? Will it affect its review score, Hugger? What do you think?
It could, for some people. It could. But if it still gets 75, 80, I would have loved 75 and 80s in school. So I think I'm not going to judge the game based on that. I'll see it when it's in my hands, because there could be other technical issues. But Fame is right. If at that 30 and I see a drop to like 15, I'm going to have an issue with that. I'm going to have a big issue with that.
That would be a horrendous thing, even if it was one frame out or under 30, which I reckon it might be, because Cole Eastman was saying the PC versions were running really bad at 1080, and he risked breaking NDAs after that because he didn't give a shit at a point. I think that's what he said. Sorry, Colt, get ready to get sued. I'm just kidding. But Fame, like, do you think this will affect the review score?
It has to. In my opinion, I think just integrity-wise, I think if a game is, believe it or not, it takes the joy out of a FPS when it's dropping frames like that. Like it looks, and on top of that, if the person reviewing it is anything like that IGN reviewing, we're just throwing random shit on the ground and running around in circles, not doing what you're doing, the game's going to be viewed bad, right? Do I think it's fair? Maybe, but I'll make this point: if this game was releasing on PlayStation 5 exclusively, would it release at 30 FPS on console?
Well, what's up in the chat with the £2 super chat? Because bet the cancelled PlayStation version of Redfall ran at 60.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think PlayStation would have released this game or let it release because it looks bad on the console. The whole part of the conversation is this is a console. This is the each other console. This is the world's most powerful console. Power. Aaron Greenberg, we're targeting 60 FPS on these games, right? You can't talk about 60 FPS and all this goddamn power and they give us 30 frames per second. Meanwhile, your competitor would have released, when they did release games that are now owned by you, they release those at 60 FPS. You mean to tell me you don't have the quality control in place at Microsoft, or you don't care enough about the console gamer? Because the PC gamers are going to be fine. You know, you out here with a 30, 70, 40, something, you're going to at least get 60 FPS. You may not get 4K. We don't give a damn about 4K on console. It's just, it's a marketing term. We could care less. What we care about is frames per second, and particularly with FPS. So yeah, and back to your question, it should affect the score, because you got an FPS that's 30 FPS and it's dropping frames. It's going to affect the gameplay. No, that's I agree with you fully. I think it will 30 frames and 60 frames. It might be performance, but that is an impact on how the game feels, how the game plays, and that can absolutely factor in a review score. I also think you have to put yourself in the mentality of a reviewer. Like, very few reviewers, in my opinion, will be putting themselves in the positions where they're gonna, all right, let me purge myself from all the discourse that happened around it and all the negativity. You kind of build like this little mirage of what you think the game is. Then you go in and you go and review the game. When I do a review, I try personally remove that completely. I have this, like, very rarely do I do reviews, but I'm like, all right, fresh, be very aggressive. Like, if someone is critiquing my review, it's a very weird view, but when I do a review, like, will it just forget all the noise, but obviously try and bring in, contextually important matters, like Wo Long, when I reviewed, what does it mean as a Soulsborne game? But I haven't got much experience, so I said that, hey, someone who's very new to Soulsborne games, this feels like that. But with a game like Redfall and the performance issue and all the negative hype, I think that has an impact and the mentality of a reviewer who goes in to reviewing it. So I do expect it to go down. I would say if it was before 82 to 84 meta, you will see this at around potentially like 78 to 75 meta. It depends. I'm kind of trying to change my mind though, where I think space. So do you think that would? Do you expect it to impact the review score?
I think what you just said there is exactly what I would say about it, in that if you are reviewing this game, you really should be parking to one side the whole conversation about how many frames per second it's running at, because the stats and things should only matter in the way that they are material when you're playing the game, the way that you feel them when you play. So they should forget this whole discourse, forget what was promised, forget the trailers, play the game. If it feels good, then tell us that it feels good, because that is your experience with the game, and that is more important than the numbers. But like, almost certainly it is going to play out that it doesn't feel great as a result of those numbers, because we know how 30 frames per second games actually feel. So it should impact the reviews by virtue of the fact that it shouldn't feel as good as they were hoping to play. But they do need to park the entire Discord to the side, the discourse like around it, forget the numbers, play it, see how it feels. And there's some games like I think if this was Forza Horizon 5, if you play that in its 30 frames per second mode and you play it for more than like 20 seconds, it actually does feel good. Some games can get away with it. I doubt that Redfall is going to by virtue of being a first-person shooter. I'm not reviewing it, so I can like think about it and speculate. But yeah, if you are reviewing it, park everything you've heard to the side, see how it feels, tell us how it feels, be honest about it, and we'll ignore you because it's on Game Pass.
It's so true. It's so true. That's the new dynamic that exists. It's so true. I think I've got it on the press thing, but you know how these press things work. If you're quite openly scathing of this whole issue, they'll just say, don't send him a review. They do keep an eye on that. Microsoft, Sony do that a lot. They're very selective. And they're dodgy like that. And I don't know if I give Microsoft any more credit, but it remains to be seen. But rest assured, people, as much as a bot that I am very, I try to be objective about it. Obviously, it's a subjective opinion, but that mentality, I would challenge most people to challenge me on a review. If anything, I would live stream a game, if possible, if NDA is permitted, and break down every granular level of why I'm considering this game, while still maintaining the spirit of I am playing a game, let me enjoy it. It's hard to do. Because if I'm going to be critical and I'm here with my word notes, making notes as I'm playing the game. This level made me feel like this. This made me feel like this. Should it make me feel like this? I need to still enjoy the game because it's hard. That goes for any serious reviewer who considers it. And I think ACG is one I really rate because I can tell and I know he thinks like that. I rate that guy so much. Shout out to him. Hey, you need to come on our show, man, if you're watching this. Let me read these super chats because you guys in chat are messy. Jonas the Dad with the $2 super chat goes, we must demand better. 2K? I don't give a shit about res. 6 FPS, 60 FPS, I think is first party minimum. Don't give a shit about res, Jonas. I think all of us will be willing to take a hit on res.
Yep.
Lisa, would you be willing to take a hit on res for performance?
Me, I have said loads of times I want the resolution conversation to die and go in a trash can somewhere because it is not a thing that is significant. It's significant, it matters, but image quality is what we should be talking about, not resolution, and you can achieve that in different ways. The problem with Redfall is they can cut that resolution right the way down to 5 pixels and it probably still won't hit 60 frames per second because the problem is elsewhere.
Yeah. I think so too. Not being a technical guy and all. But I do agree with you, Jonas. Standards need to be raised. And also on the 60 FPS conversation, John Linneman actually came out and said you'll be surprised because you'll expect more 30 FPS games. We've talked about this before on the show. And I agree.
But John Linneman likes 30 frames per second, so you do have to look at it through that lens because he said multiple times that he's perfectly fine with that frame rate. So, consumer demands will influence these things, and there will be lots of developers making these decisions. Do we take these visual bells and whistles and tone back that frame rate? But if the market responds to Redfall and says this is like vomit, we don't like it anymore, you have to give it 60 frames per second, then we're going to get 60 frames per second.
Definitely, yeah. That will be interesting to see.
I'm with you. I'm with the whole 30 FPS thing, and it's not the death stake that people want to make it out to be. However, on a game like Redfall, right, we're looking at
exactly
co-op, and we got abilities, we got particles, stuff happening all over the place. Could you just imagine us trying to play this game and the way it's going to drop when so many things are happening on the screen at one time? That's going to be an issue for any game coming forward, right? What is that game that was just revealed? They had it wasn't a gun, it was magical powers. I was like the old school Hexen type, right? It was just revealed a few days ago. It looked beautiful, right? But could you imagine all those particle effects happening all at one time, and the game was only given 30 FPS? When everything's happening at once, you're looking at 20 to 22 FPS, and it's going to take you out of the immersion. And that's the big thing for me, right? I'm looking forward to Redfall. Redfall is one of my most anticipated. I look forward to that more than Starfield. But when I'm playing a game and I'm playing with multiple people and there's multiple things happening at one time, right? If I'm noticing we're dropping to 20 FPS, the immersion of me being in this game is gone. Because now I'm focusing on, holy crap, what was that? Is my Xbox about to die? What the heck just happened? And I think that is the issue, is we play games to go to another world. That immersion is very, very important, right? And stuff like FPS completely rips you out of that the moment it happens. And if it's happening multiple times, that's an issue. It makes me want to say, you know what? Maybe I should wait to play a 60 FPS so it doesn't take me out of the game. That's not going to happen because I'm still there day one because that's the bot that I am. I'm going to play it no matter what I say. But it's part of the issue with those frames will take you out of the game. And that sucks, dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel you, man. I feel you. It does. The immersion element of it is really important. In the future, as the generation progresses, you will see more 30 frames per second games, but the context is also important because one, this is coming out Xbox first party slate. Two, it doesn't look next gen. So if it was really visually like heavyweight, like something like Hellblade, it looks so good. Hellblade 2, you'd be more inclined to forgive 30. Starfield, you'll be more inclined, even though a lot of people have been quite vocal and said no 60 FPS only, I was more inclined to accept because there's no scope of that game is much more ambitious than a lot of games, let alone Redfall. So like we'll see how that pans out. With Simping Gaming with a $5 super chat, thank you, man. He goes, when do you guys think that the 60 FPS patch will drop? I think they'll delay. If they delayed it, there would be an even bigger backlash. You're right. Well, I don't know if it'd be bigger. Now, if they delayed it, the ponies will really make a big issue out of it. Xbox guys will be more willing to accept it because that's like, the console power narrative. Like, just release it when it's ready. But they are caught between a rock and a hard place. Already delayed it for a year, which makes this so, frankly, ludicrous.
Makes it worse.
Yeah, it makes it bad. And then you delay it again. And do you delay it out of the 12-month window? Your 12-month window plan last year's showcase is already sullied. We haven't even seen Forza's release date. That is gone past the 12 months, really. So only no games would have hit the 12-month mark if this got delayed. It's a tough one. Should the game get delayed? In my opinion, yes. Will it make... but... It's easy for me to say that. This year's pretty hard on like pretty big releases as well. When do you release it? I saw someone in chat, I think it was John Wolf, who said release it on October 31st, Halloween. No, okay, that's a good shout. Shout. That could be a good one. Bone Slave with a $2 super chat. Xbox is making it hard to justify my $500 purchase. You're with you, Fame. A lot of people are feeling the same way. Hoggy Channy with a $5 super chat goes, not sure I like the backlash on Colt. Yeah, it's ponies, man. Bro, trust me. Not his fault. He doesn't run Xbox, ZeniMax, Arkane. Kind of sad people blame him. # delay Redfall. It is sad. I actually saw a lot of people scapegoat him because why are you blaming these studios? We should blame Colt. One, you're not... Well, this is a lesson to me. Like, if I ever got an invite to this thing, I'm just... Cole is different. He's not going to go. He calls it ambush journalism, like Jason Schreier, and like critique them. It's an event. He's been invited. You have to think about the dynamics of it. Hey, everyone, let's go and play an event. He asked them a question. Why is it on Xbox? We can't talk about that today. Okay, but why not? Like, you're at an event surrounded by people. We're going to be a dick in front of everyone. I would be because I am a dick. I leaked the Xbox One user interface because I went to these events. Filmed it, not secretly, Albert Pinello, but I went there and no one said anything. They're like, I don't know if you're supposed to do that, the guy said. I'm like, oh, it's just a tiny channel. It's not going to make a difference. Boom. Phil Spencer commented on it. Albert Pinello commented on it. Kotaku, IGN, everyone ran on it. But it is unfair on Colt. Colt needs to be clearer in specifying things. I think he's learned his lesson, but it is unfair to say, oh, he didn't expressly say it. But next time, be clearer as well. This is for any content creator gets invited to these things because the trust, even I'm Colt's one of my best friends, but the trust level, it just erodes away when you've got, because I make fun of Colt now, like secretly. Hey, you're just like Paris Lily now with the Cyberpunk and the Yellow Chair gang.
Oh, that had me laughing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why they'll never invite me to these events because fuck it. Like they use you, man. They use, and I am grateful for it. Grateful for the invite, but again, it's the review mentality. You now have a higher burden of proof to discharge to your audience. if you are doing a review, if they do trust your judgment, if you're trying to impart because if your audience rely on your words and your assessments, you've had an opportunity to play the game. They haven't. They want you to just be honest with it. And I get it's not easy. People will have a go at you for being critical of Xbox, like relentlessly. I'm in this limbo situation where Xbox guys like me, but they don't trust me because I will shit on Xbox. And I'm like, I like that. So, but everyone can go fuck themselves if they're going to go attack people. We're like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You can do that, but don't rate that. But Huggy, thanks for the super chat. And you're right. It's a harsh odd cult and just a lesson learned. Mike with the $11 Canadian. Digital Foundry is the reason why games are being locked to 30 frames. Nobody cared about unstable frame rates before, and I liked it better when developers left it uncapped. Digital Foundry are the reason why games are being locked to 30 frames? I don't understand that. I guess in the console warring space, it has numbers game is quite important. Digital Foundry have made it a thing. Like, sometimes I do ask myself if,
I'm going to disagree with that super chat. Like, I think Digital Foundry have a lot of influence on a lot of things that developers are doing, and I think they genuinely do look at them as like a voice to guide them through the way that they deliver games. But unlocked 30 frames per second games, I think, like, consumers that aren't that into these numbers can tell when they've got tears on the screen. I think it is a very visible defect. So that lock is there for a good reason.
Yeah, no, it's true. Part correct. The other part that you do agree with is they are important.
I agree that Digital Foundry have a lot of influence, and the things that they say are heard and listened to and responded to, and they do. Like, developers have come out and worked with them directly to figure out how to deliver their game, how to fix frame pacing issues and things like that Digital Foundry's bespoke tools have picked up for them. So they have a lot of value in that space. But okay. I don't think that unlocked frame rates are particularly a good way to deliver a game, and I don't think that's Digital Foundry's fault.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I agree. Simping Gaming with a $5 super chat. Not sure if you answered this already, but do you realistically think Redfall will come out with a 60 FPS patch? It has to. Like Asa said, if that doesn't come out anytime soon, people will keep an eye on it. There is a huge trust issue with Arkane Austin and Xbox vicariously. No, what's the has this rocked your confidence in Starfield being 60?
I'll be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to Starfield. It wasn't a game that was on my radar. Will I play it? Yeah, but I don't know, because for me, Starfield is kind of like Red Dead 2, where I'm more in it because it's pretty than I'm going to be shooting things. I want to look at the planets. I want to go to that planet. I want it to be pretty. So I'm not super concerned if it's not 60. But again, it's you paid this much money for a console. You should be getting your value out of that console. They shouldn't be capping it or saying, hey, later on, we're going to introduce this mode where we could have had it in the beginning. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I don't know how difficult it is to do it.
Yeah. Another on my end. A lot of people are guessing here. I think ultimately the demand is that it needs to be 60. I saw Doc in chat. I was like, it's not my fault. Shout out to Doc if he's still here. Fame, you said 60. You made your position clear. I presume the same principle applies to Starfield?
I would hope that as soon as Todd Howard looked on the internet and saw the backlash that Arkane is getting, they walked in the building and said, hey, fuckers, in September there needs to be a quality mode, because Starfield, its place in history is going to be massive for Xbox. It's going to be up there with Halo, because it's so important to the Xbox brand. It has to hit every point. It has to, right? So there needs to be a quality mode built there. So if Redfall is saying 30 now, 60 later, Todd Howard should walk in the door and say, hey, I know it's 30 now, that's 60 later needs to be in September, right? It has to have that mode. Will it? I'm 50-50 on it, but it has to have it. It has to have it. Start on it now, because you see the backlash, and Starfield cannot have the backlash that Redfall is getting. It can't.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And you know what? It would be really bad because Starfield, in the last bit of the trailer, like Todd Howard goes, we do listen. We are aware of everything the community says. We do listen. And people are gleaning from that. If it's still 30, it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because the biggest thing everyone's demanding is 60 frames. I will shit on Todd Howard's chest if it's not 60 after that trailer. I will do that, protein and all, because that is, you can't say that. You have to hold them to account. You know what you're saying, you're doing when you say these things. You dangle the little carrot there, like, oh, yeah, we know we're listening. I mean, we're getting excited. Like, yeah. And they show bits off the trailer were at 60 in the last trailer. They did run 60. So you're like, okay. And then Colt made a video on that. Like, look, it's running 60. Why would they do that? And he's absolutely right. You're showing 60 FPS bits of footage. You say they're listening. Xbox have said their teams out there. If that runs at 60, even may not be solid 60, but if it has a 60 FPS mode, it will redeem Xbox of the Redfall. Because Redfall does not look as good as Starfield does. And as much as Starfield has some, like, you know, graphically, I think it's impressive. People are like, oh, it looks shit. Well, I think it looks really good, considering the scope of the game, especially lighting, shadows, that would go a long way in fixing it. The pressure is on Xbox, and all of this adds more pressure on the game showcase event. People are getting pissed. Xbox Uni is hilarious. He was going raw, and I love it. Good. Go hard. Demand more. But the mentality should be on this event, E3, well, not E3, wherever it's called. By the way, Asa, we got the press pass for E3. I didn't realize it was in my junk mail. I was like, when are we going to get the press pass?
Now, the event should probably not book the plane tickets, Kaz.
Yeah,
definitely not. But yeah, it all adds pressure on Xbox, and this is the company that you need to put. You have to sit on their heads. It's hilarious, but at the same time, a lot of people are like, is this the end of Xbox? Xbox's state of turmoil, blah, 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 blah. It's Redfall, and it's not running at 60. Let's just get a little bit of perspective as well. I get it. It's negative. Get me annoyed. Power narrative is it state of crumbles? It's crumbled now, and I don't expect it to change, but if it does, great. But it just doesn't speak to the brand. Like, it just means management. There are issues there. But don't think it's the end of Xbox. I saw a lot of that as well. I'm like, all right, it's bad. But calm down. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the $5 super chat. Fame. Obviously, Sony wouldn't have any problems with 30 frames. Look at Gotham Knights and Forspoken. My opinion is that Arkane needs more time. So he's saying, like, those are examples. Third party, maybe, but they. Yeah.
That's the kicker. Yes, Arkane needs more time, but that's the kicker. Gotham Knights. What Gotham Knight? It was at 30 on all platforms, and it was trying to balance when to release the old version. Okay, it's not released the old version. They had their own issues. Forspoken, again, third party. I get it. It was the issue with Redfall is that it is a first person studio, and it's only running on one console. That's why it's extrapolating what's happening, right? Because it doesn't have to be on PlayStation 4. It's just Xbox and PC, and that's where the anger comes from, right? So
yeah, and it's not third party. That's a big one. It's a first party title, and it's a first person shooter, and it's been shown at 60 all the time. And Forspoken got murked for looking completely different or much downgraded from what it looked at the start as Project Athia and what it looks like now. Two different things, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's Redfall. Xbox, fix up. I feel like a statement is forthcoming because there's so much backlash. If they put their head in the sand, then they do that. Let's just keep an eye out on this game. But whilst this week we saw some bad news for Xbox, we got good news for Burning Shores. Looks really good. Like, I saw the gameplay. I'm not a big Horizon fan, but that looks beautiful. It's a cross-gen game. Looks better than Redfall to me. Much better.
Burning Shores isn't cross-gen, just so you know.
That's not cross-gen. Ah, okay. Okay. It looks beautiful with some of that big boss in the background. It actually makes me want to play it. And that's a game that demands me how I play Forbidden West, which I guess is an excuse to play it. I've got the game, but just don't like Aloy. It's just so boring as a character. But
Whoa, you don't like Aloy?
Aloy is so dry. She is so dry, bro. She talks to herself, and even that is me even like, God, man. Like,
there's two characters you can't talk bad about, Baloy or Bayla Ellison. Okay, you can't talk about those two characters.
What? You like Aloy as a character? You think she's fit? Does she have any character? She's so dry, bro. What the?
Aloy and Layla Ellison off limits for anybody. That's bad. That's bad.
Or I've caught smoke for talking bad about Baloy. Yeah.
Baloy. That's the first I've heard of that. Yeah, low tier gaming because Aloy doesn't have a personality. Absolutely. My foot has more personality than Aloy. But this game does look very impressive.
I've met your feet and I disagree.
Splendiferous in chat. He goes, stop the blood clot crying. Shut up, Splendiferous. We've stopped crying already. AC2 Cold with a $5 super check has got an OLED with HDMI 2.1 4K 120 FPS for my Xbox, but Microsoft doesn't even speak of games at 120 FPS. Wonder if these games are coming, period. AC2 Cold, I'm sorry, Microsoft does speak of 120 FPS by Aaron Greenberg tweeting in a very badly timed tweet. Yeah, it's bullshit. And also, I will say just quickly on that Redfall point, Xbox gamers are feeling like second-class citizens next to PC. That is a narrative that's building up. That is really bad. Yeah. That's really bad. Fix that shit. Because you're using the Xbox as a Trojan horse and then slap us away. And then gaming is available everywhere. And hey, the people that made you, come on, man. Bone Slave with the $5 super chat. If they did Halo like that at launch, imagine how they treat lesser IPs. Microsoft needs an internal change. There's definitely a management question, in my opinion. Not Phil Spencer, because he's a few degrees above that. Well, who is in charge of studio management? I think it's Matt Booty. I don't know what he's doing. What's going on? Too many mistakes. Too many issues with the initiative and blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Danny Penish Official with a $2 super chat. There's more games on Series X running at 60 than PS5. And that's a lot of it's those back compact games as well. Let's be real. That's what's padding that narrative. But as far as first party exclusives, it's not looking good. Games Lord with a €2 super chat. Do you know the Aloy's backstory, Gas? It's easy to judge. So Games Lord, you're right. And backstory is what, Asa, you alluded to. If you complete the first game, I think it was who said that? It wasn't you. It was Kayasanti. Kayasanti was saying that, I think. He was saying that if you complete the game, you'll understand that Aloy's...
He was, yeah. I wasn't so much saying that about Aloy specifically. I think the Horizon games have a really good sci-fi story running through them. I like them a lot. I've not finished Forbidden West yet. I'm playing it at the moment. I'm about 50 hours into it. Both games are too big, but I like them as sci-fi games. I don't mind Aloy as a character. The problem is the way that she talks to herself constantly. So it's not like the base character herself. It is this guidance thing, and that does get irritating. She's like, oh, I should climb up that rock. Oh, I should keep climbing a bit higher. I know. I could climb up that rock. Wrong. Shut up, Aloy. There's nobody here. Who are you telling?
Yeah. She's talking to me.
Her name is in his feels.
She's talking to me. I think talking to herself, she's talking to me, bucko.
Because you're the one that doesn't know you need to climb up. Okay, I understand.
Exactly. Figured it out yet.
Oh man, shout out to Face. Thank you for the $20 super check. Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC is going to be a technical showcase for the PS5 that the Series X hasn't had yet. Absolutely, it doesn't have it. We had Forza Horizon, but that is getting a bit older now. We need something that really, in a non-racer format, does do that. It looks beautiful. I will give it that, and it's enticing me to play that game. But then I have to withstand the base game, which I haven't really given it any appreciable time to judge. But it's not grabbing me. But a lot of people in there. Splendor for the $2 super chat goes, big up my Arab brethren. Blah, blah, blah. Big up, go live. Big up you, Splendiferous, you crazy guy. Simpin Gaming with a $10 super chat. Thank you, man. Because Xbox is running like Twitter before Elon Musk took over, when the devs spent most of the day working, getting coffee, yoga, 3-hour lunch break. Seemed like every game is broken at launch. Bring back crunch. Oh God, I don't know if I agree with that. And have you used Twitter lately? Oh my God, I pay for it like a mug because I like the longer videos, except Elon Musk has fucked it up. Since he took it over, DMs don't work properly. I can't upload videos like I wanted a proper video on PC and a mobile. He's broken it. It has never been so broken, in my opinion. So that's not a great example. And I'm not on the Elon Musk hate brigade, although he's sus. But yeah, last topic. Let's talk about gaming. This game looks so good. This is the game's trailer that I wanted to put up on Twitter. Twitter wasn't letting me do that. I rarely pre-order games, very rarely. Diablo and something else. But this game, as soon as I saw it, pre-ordered it. I said, it looks kind of like DLC a little bit when it first showed up. I still enjoyed it. It's an IP franchise that's in my top 3. But after seeing this, and Asa knows it, holy shit. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom got a trailer. If you haven't seen it, what the flip are you doing? Game of the year is probably gonna be this one. This trailer killed it. It killed the vibes. The music was mad. You can't hear it here, but as soon as he comes in on the screen, the music boo-boo. Oh my God, this gameplay, the gameplay ramifications of the stuff that they showed, the story looks sick. It is going to be an epic game. Asa is playing music. Asa, listen to that.
Can you hear it? That surprises me.
Yeah. Play it. Just watch this. Let's just enjoy it together. The world looks amazing. Look at the NPCs in there. It's like Kokiri Forest all over again, getting the same vibes. The climbing mechanic is divisive, but the mechanic to go through vertically from a cave up top, it's fine. Listen to the music. Just listen to it. Oh, look at the style, the music. My anus can't take it. This is so beautiful. It's just, look at that desert level. Oh, look at that. That looks like the dungeons are coming back properly. Look at the mechanics. Nintendo are in a league of their own. I'm killing the gameplay by talking over it, but I kind of held it. This game is going to be epic. This is going to be a 97 meta. Maybe. I hope they have voiceovers in the game as well. But I don't know if they will, because they're talking here to Zelda. This could be better than Breath of the Wild, because the biggest weakness, in my opinion, Breath of the Wild was the dungeons. You had like these boss dungeons. They were pretty much the same. You rotate around it and then go in and kill the boss, which was pretty easy. And you had these mini dungeon puzzles, but that wasn't enough, in my opinion. And I thought it was rated a little bit too high because I love Ocarina of Time. This looks so good mechanically, vibes, everything. Talk to me. Shut up. It's not about me. Face, talk to me. What you said. Are you hyped for this game?
Yeah, Face.
He did it. Yeah, Face.
Oh my God.
I apologize to him.
I'm sorry.
I'm playing through Breath of the Wild now because I got my Switch this year. And from the trailer, just expanding on the weapons and the guardians and all the things you can do, this looked... I wasn't like super hyped because I remember the original trailer when they announced it, but this, chef's kiss, this is probably one of the best trailers I've seen this year. This made me want to get that game. Like Zelda, like give it to me now. I want it now, and I want to play it now. It looks so good. This is it. If you always question Nintendo, this company that doesn't need frames, that doesn't need next-gen hardware, well, it does actually, but it doesn't need it anyway, because it'll pull off something like that and make it look effortless. Nintendo is arse backwards, says DeliverX, but
but it's so good. No one can do. You never get the Zelda hype. The games are generally fine. Just get it or you don't. Fame, are you a Zelda fan?
Listen, this DLC looks freaking amazing, right? There's no doubt about it. It's absolutely beautiful. There's only I have a fundamental issue with the first Zelda game, and I'm sure this one will have the same thing. Okay, could you imagine in a world where you gather materials and you look for the strongest metals and you craft the most beautiful sword weapon of all time? Just to use it 3 fucking times and you have to fix it. Stupid. Weapon damage is one of the worst features in games. And you would sell me $70 in this game day one if you told me we took away weapon damage. It is a terrible mechanic. That and escorting NPCs across a map, right? They're terrible mechanics. I hate it. Everything about this game looks delicious, right? It looks perfect, but I just can't get over the fact that I'm going to be crafting weapons and using 3 times. Time out. I need to fix this magical sword that I spent hours looking for. I gotta fix it because I hit a Koopa 6 times. I know that's a different game. It broke. I hate it.
No, but the whole fusing element of the weapon is you do it on the fly, you experiment. You don't rely on the same weapon. I get what they're going with that. Like, let's go be different. You think you can go get that crazy sword that you upgrade, but the fuse mechanic takes it to another level. It kind of forces you to be more dynamic in the battlefield as opposed to rely on
damage control gas. That sounds like damage control. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Damage control, literal damage on the weapons. Yes, I am doing that. I don't care for it. Did annoy me, by the way, in Breath of the Wild. It did. It did annoy me. I'm like, this is a mechanic that kind of grew old very quick. So the dynamism of the combat, it does help, but it wasn't that welcome of an addition. But something like Fuse, I think that's a really clever idea. Even the verticality is a very big feature in this game. Just the mechanic of being able to teleport all through seems like any area, if you can go subterranean or through a cave or something. It just screams such strong vibes, man. Like BG Twitter was like, how many times are you guys going to fight Ganondorf and still capture it? Like, it doesn't matter. It's every Ganondorf is different. It's just different. It's just different. Asa, I know you are not a fan of the Switch, and I have actually genuinely forgotten your position on Zelda. That's how crazy I am, even though we talked about it. Did you? You watched the trailer.
I sunk like thousands of hours into Breath of the Wild. My absolute favorite part of that game, my favorite feature, is the way that the weapons degrade and break. I love that. It makes the game incredible, and I hope that they bring it back, make them degrade even faster, so they break more often. I want to fix that shit up. I've not played Breath of the Wild, guys. I want to. I'm waiting for Nintendo to discount the game so that I can play Breath of the Wild. The trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. It looks good. I still don't understand whether Link is an adult or a child or what's going on there. I don't know anything about the world of Zelda. That's the mystery. That's the reason to play it. I can wait. I'll wait until it goes on that discount with Breath of the Wild 1. And you're right, though. It's a good trailer. Like that did look like a good game. It looked well designed, even though everything looked like it was running on a Switch or something ridiculous like that. Which obviously it was. I've forgotten what I was going to say. No, I've not played it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of games there. I feel for you that you're going to wait for this discount. That will never happen because Nintendo are like that. If anything, it won't surprise me. Put the price up of their old games. Yeah. That's what they're like. And it's an antique now. You have to pay the price.
Don't encourage them, please.
Yeah, don't encourage them. I mean, they could do it. You know what they're like. They only released.
They did sell us cardboard.
Yeah, they did.
I forgot about that.
The Labo. Yeah.
That was bad. That's Nintendo. But you know what? Nintendo does what Nintendo don't. I don't even remember the quote, but it does stuff that other people can't. But yeah, look, it's there's so many good games coming out this year. Anyway, it's going to be such a problem. Got Jedi Survivor coming in. That's going to be so good. That's going to be a big one as well. Like, there's so many games. A backlog out to play Resident Evil. All these games. So there's no shortage of games this year. It's a very good year for gaming, in my opinion. So add the game of the year conversation is going to be tough. If PlayStation is going to be in that conversation because of Spider-Man 2, most likely, we'll see. They've been very silent on that. That's coming out in a few months. Very silent. I haven't seen any gameplay, any at all, for Spider-Man 2. It's like a bit weird, no?
It is a little weird, actually.
What do you think they'll do different, Flo? I've called you Hugger, I've called you Floor, I've called you Face, I've called you so many different things. What do you think?
We're just they don't really need to change a lot because Breath of the Wild was solid. They're probably just going to bring some more weapon variety in, some more ways to. I think me and you won't see the true potential of what it's going to be. It's going to be the speedrunners that figure out that you need this specific sword that's across the map, but they're going to jump on Goblin's head and like shoot across. Go watch a speedrun of Breath of the Wild. It's kind of insane to see what these guys are doing. So I want to see the people that are going to break the game, see what they can do. And then I'm like, oh, let me try that out even though I'm nowhere near as skilled as them. That's going to be fun. But they don't need to change anything.
What about Spider-Man? Do you think, does that need to change? We know the side missions need to change. That's a given.
You don't like the pigeons. We got that.
Yeah, 100%.
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe fill in the world a little bit more. That's been my criticism with a lot of games now that I've seen, especially like GTA 5. There's not a lot to do once the story's done. So fill in the world a little bit more. I know I'm going to play it. I know I'm probably going to cry at some point. I'm not emotional, but the way they hit me with, the ending of that game, make it fun and just bring some of that Spider-Man cheese into it. We need some of that. Spider-Man is a dork. And now he's a little too cool.
I don't know if he's cool, Miles maybe, but my Peter Parker's a bit dry. Yeah,
he's cool because he hangs out with a guy that it has to exaggerate a swagger of a black teenager. That's why he's cool.
Where's the pun with the turn? I need my sound effects. Who was that? GameSpot? Who was that? That was so funny. Exaggerate to a swagger. I was like, oh, you couldn't think of it when you. Anyway, but no, you know what I'd really like? Because after watching that incredible trailer for what's it called? Spider-Man: The Multiverse 2. What's it called? The movie, the animated
Spider-Verse. Yeah,
whatever it's called. That looks so good. If they did a game in that style, I feel like they'll go into the multiverse a little bit. But they showed the co-op quite a bit in that. So if they do some co-op mechanics, that'd be good. Venom is obviously going to get everyone hyped as an antagonist. So it's going to be interesting. Into the Spider-Verse. Thank you, Simping. But yeah, Randall Thor 19. I'm sorry, Gaz. Please forgive me. You don't buy forgiveness. Don't buy your forgiveness, you piece of.
You can, Rand, but it costs a lot more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it has been such a fun show, as I knew it would be. It was the same with LV1. It was such a good podcast. You guys have an insane podcast. It's one of the most fun podcasts I did. And thank you so much, both of you, and everyone in chat who joined us, especially when Rand was doing his show. You're the true sports. Everyone in chat. I'm just being a dick. But honestly, it's been such a great show. It's outro time. So, Floor Hugger. Yeah, at the end, I get it right. I hope you had a good time on the show. Tell everyone where you killed it, as you always do, but you killed it. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You guys can find me mainly at Level 1 Gaming, and I'm pretty sure they linked my YouTube there. I stream on Twitch, but I just want to say thank you, Gaz and Asa, for making this so much fun, because I've been on some shows where it's not super fun sometimes, or it goes on a little too long, and you're like, okay. And the chat, I know sometimes we didn't see eye to eye, but you guys, your community here is they may hate you and they may love you, but they're here and they supporting. And I just thank you guys for having this Saturday with us. I really loved being here. Thank you guys so much.
That's my line. Thank you. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. We'd love to have you on again. You killed it. Thank you so much for coming on. Just so good. It was so good. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Fame, you're definitely getting clipped on the show.
Yeah.
That rant was epic as well. I hope you had a good time, brother. Sorry it took so long to organize to get you on here, but I found the right time, did I not? It had to be the right time.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I hope you had a good time,
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Asa, again, man, I noticed you're very sensible, and I think that the chat loves you for being that sensible, level-headed one. Gast, again, thank you for the invite, man. Again, me and my sister, the Floor Hugger, just appreciative of you guys. That's the invite. If you guys want to check us out, level1gaming.com, or if you search on YouTube, LV1 Gaming 20. We do a show every Wednesday, Double XP Podcast. Asa, we got to get you on, guys. We got to get you to come back and have a show with us, man. We can have some time. One thing I noticed, I want to say this. If you come and rock with us, I saw a comment on our show before last. We had Randall Thor, and somebody commented, this show was too black for Rand. So if you like black people and you like having fun, 2XP Podcast, you can come have some laughs with us. Rand was a hell of a guest, but that comment was hilarious. Like, oh yeah, this show is too black for Rand. He took it on the chin. So, out, man, hell of a show.
Oh God.
Rand is in chat as well. I see you, Rand. You can comment if you want. It is an epic show, everyone, by the way. You've had Ryan McCaffrey, you've had all sorts on your show. It's a wicked show. Definitely have Rand says, wow.
And goes up.
Oh, shit, man. Post up comes in right at the end. He goes, oh, man, you had the squad on here. Salute to level 1 and the panel. Got to run it back. Yes, post up. Shout out to you. You killed it. We have to have you on again, man. I love you, man. And people loved you as well. Yeah, he was good with it. He's with David Jaffe, and I realized, hold on, David doesn't allow many people to talk. Everyone was like, what the frick? We wanted to hear more of post up, so I will bother you for another entrance again. You have to come by. All of you have to come by. It was so good. Thank you. And it'd be an honor to be on everyone again. Asa, it's outro time. What a great show.
That was a really fun show, yeah. So thank you both so much for coming on and carrying the conversation in the way that you did. Everyone in chat as well. Like they say, some of you hate us, some of you love us, and it's all good fun. You can find me not here. This is all wrong. I changed all my channels over to Game on Asa, so I'll put it up anyway. And I'm playing all kinds of things over there and having lots of fun. Gaz, you've started streaming and doing stuff on your little channel. Give yourself a little plug.
Oh wow! Yeah, shout out! Thank you. Yeah, I'm finally streaming, and I love it. It's so much fun. I can get it why people are doing it. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm playing Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Tomorrow I'm streaming it. What a great game! I'm just doing a little trailer for it to hype up the stream. It's a great game. So I'm streaming that tomorrow. So Randall Thor 19 can laugh at me as I fail miserably. It's such a good game. So I'm doing that tomorrow. So check it out. It's called Septic Sauce. And Isla, can I give a shout out to all the mods in chat as well? Rand for being an absentee mod, but coming in there. Where's my Sekiro stream is coming, Rand, and Isla especially, because Isla, you killed it. Check out Ace's video on VR as well, which Isla McDonald's? Ina McGonads. I don't know, just killing names today. I can't do it. Just helped edit as well. The little touch. Isla, shout out to you, and shout out to everyone who tuned in. We have an epic show in next week as well, and loads of content as well. But this show is one for the history books. Thank you, everyone. Smash that like button if you enjoyed it. Share it out. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Wait, I'm not ready. Wait, no, we don't.